You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 3. Yeah.
It
It's
is
our
season
third year
3,
doing
isn't it?
this. Not our third birthday yet, but our third season, third year,
Yes.
which we're doing this, of the Eager Beaver podcasts, all formats combined. As it says back there, it's 2023, kids, and let's make it a good one. And it's our morning show for those moments when you still want your Beaver Grizzly goodness to get your day started and your year kicked off with a bit of sparkle and joy. We're serving up a warm bowl of goodness for your winter morning. Today, recording day is Friday, January 6th, 2023. And, well, I don't know what kind of day it's going to be here at the Beaver Lodge because I haven't been up for very long and I haven't checked. But regardless of the weather outside, it's going to be a beautiful day because you're here and we're here together. And again, I'm sounding like Roxy Hart from Chicago again. I love you and they love me and I love them for loving me and we love each other. And that's showbiz, kids. Good morning, Kit Ashley. Good morning, Kit Linda. Good morning, Kit Lazy Sunday with Wade and Doe, you beautiful people. Good morning, Nona. Big hugs to you. And good morning to everybody joining us live today or who will be listening later. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And I am just tickled pink or orange and yellow that you kits have joined us this morning for some nice chat and some friendliness and some warmth and of course some general political douchebaggery, but nice positiveness and warmth. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. But we have some very important business to tend to. We need to say hello to someone, and that's Mr. Grizzly. Good morning, Mr. Grizzly. How's your mental health today?
Good morning, Mr. Beaver. I am... I've been awake since 3 a.m. And I had a rather sleepless night. Without going into detail, watched the hockey game. Good game. Team Canada, gold medal. Great. Awesome. Way to go, kids. Don't know if they actually deserve to be in the game because the U.S. did outplay them in the game before. And although their goaltender, Team Canada's goaltender, stood on his head in that game. He did. He played amazingly. The 2 goals that were called back, I disagreed with. I thought they should have counted. I think in the NHL or other international play, they would have counted. So if it was a 4-4 tie, would it have been a 6-2 ending? You know what I mean? Like it's tough to say how that outcome would have been. But I'm very happy Team Canada was in the final and they won. And more than anything else, as Dean was saying just yesterday, it's beating Team USA was the most satisfying aspect. If they had a loss to Czechia yesterday, I would have been okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Czechia deserved to be in that game. They earned their way there. They played great hockey. Anyway, so post-hockey game, I sit down and I start going over some stuff, preparing for today's show, and I'm going over this and that, and I'm reading through some things, and all of a sudden the darkness just grabbed me. And I was going to do an ASMR show last night. I had planned on it, and the darkness grabbed me. And I had jumped on James' show for a little bit because he was interviewing a friend of his who is a jazz singer. So I jumped on at the end of the show just to talk to him about, oh, you got to put me in touch with her. I'd love to interview her for the jazz show. He's like, yeah, okay, we can make something happen. So I get off that, and I sit down on the couch, and I put on a movie, and that was it. The darkness enveloped me, and it was like all the terrible thoughts that come from depression and anxiety were just rattling around in my brain. I don't know why, don't know where it came from. It just happened. And that's what gave me a rather sleepless night, because you're overthinking everything, which is what the anxiety does. And then the depression is saying terrible things to you while you're overthinking it over here. It's anyway. So suffice to say, my mental health is not great today.
Okay.
But I got my mask on, and we're going to give you a damn good show, because the last thing I want to think about right now is what I was thinking about last night.
Right.
So this will serve as a great distraction for me to get to a better mental health position where I can approach whatever it was last night that did what it did to me.
Right. Right.
If that makes any sense. For those who battle the demon, like I do, that might make a lot of sense, where you want to be distracted from it so you can stop thinking about it, stop dwelling on it, get away from it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
yes.
Look over here, look over here, look over here. Happy to do that, because I don't need to think about what's over there.
Right. Yep, I get that. And, well, whatever I can do to help make that happen, my dear friend.
Send whiskey.
Okay, just pouring some right into the cup there. This, and then I guess we just send it right through the camera here.
Thank you.
There you go.
Hang on. I got it.
There you go.
Good.
All right. There's some whiskey for you. How's that? Smooth?
That's good whiskey, my friend.
There you go. Hey, made it myself.
Oh, outstanding. Morning, Nona.
Grains from my backyard, and
you did you? Pure rye Canadian whiskey.
I will go the extra mile for you, my friend.
I love it. Love it.
It's organic too.
Ooh. Organic and orgasmic. Is that how it goes?
Oh, speaking of orgasms.
I don't get those.
You said you sent me a little something yesterday regarding somebody we don't know, but somebody that decided that he wanted to give me a little bit of personal attention.
Oh, yeah? Did he? I missed that because he blocked me finally. He's like, stop harassing me. Stop messaging me. I'm like, I'm not harassing you. I'm not messaging you. You keep replying to me, so I'm going to reply. This is how this works. Oh,
that's the thing that you sent me that I saw this morning? 55 followers.
Yeah.
Well,
he made an outrageous
55 followers
claim.
Who can't tell the difference between defending Trudeau and calling out just bullshit that just happens to be about Trudeau.
Well, the guy went on about how, we're talking about corruption in government with the Ford government. He goes, oh, yeah, what about your boy Trudeau? He started out, he was worth $5 million. Now he's worth $385 million. And I'm like, I've heard this claim made before, but nobody's ever provided me evidence to back up that claim. Right. Where is the proof? I don't see any proof to this. Please cite your evidence. I don't need to answer to you. I don't have to. I'm like, well, if you make an outrageous claim, you should be able to back it up. That's not how it works. I don't owe you anything. No, you owe an explanation to the people to back up the evidence, back up your claim with evidence.
Well, here's the thing, right? He doesn't owe you anything, but then he's going, well, what about this? So you're asking us to disprove what it is that you say, but you don't have to offer any proof for what it is that you say. And of course, anything that we say to disprove what they say is not something that they're going to acknowledge anyway, right? As being true, right?
Yeah.
Right, because it's Trudeau derangement syndrome thing, right? Yeah. Right. Well, just the derangement syndrome thing, because every politician has it, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. What about him on the play?
Attempt to deflect by claiming something else is worse without addressing the initial claim.
Right. Oh,
that's a flag. Mouchoir.
Oh man, but no, I was originally when you said orgasmic. I was talking about the little visual you sent me yesterday, asking me if this was true. Jesus.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. But Jordan Peterson. right? There's this, somebody took a visual from the site funny.com, like I said, posted it as a meme alone. And it was a conversation, alleged conversation between Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro, because, Jordan Peterson has been all over the news lately. Basically with Peterson saying, talking, allegedly discussing the myth of the female orgasm, and stating that Jordan Peterson saying that it has been his experience that women begrudgingly enjoy sex, and they pretend to enjoy it with other men, but in his experience, right, they begrudgingly enjoy it, or begrudgingly tolerate it was the word. And and well, all that kind of stuff, right? And then, was that true? And okay, this is not true. This conversation did not happen between Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson, right? So, and there's even like a little YouTube clip where somebody's sort of like imitating their voices, and Jordan Peterson's basically saying that orgasms don't exist, and Ben Shapiro says, I managed to do it, but since I'm too small, like this, I have to jump up and down on a trampoline under someone's skirt, and like clearly, right? So it's satire, of course, right? But no, that's not a real thing that happened. However,
it certainly seemed plausible.
Well, listen, it is a conversation that has been had in these circles.
Yes, because I've read it before. Yes.
Right. Absolutely. But the fun thing is, in all of Jordan Peterson's debacle, this little thing happened, Mr. Grizzly, where I don't think I'm blocked yet, but Jordan Peterson subtweeted me. And for this guy that supposedly has a PhD, is super intelligent, all he was able to do was just take the description of my show and put it in a tweet and send it out. That's all he did. He didn't say anything, because
so because
the points that I make. Well, because I'm basically not really writing him directly, right? I'm taking some of his tweets, and then I'm making a comment about his tweet, like dismantling the BS. And sometimes I'm subtweeting, and sometimes, but I'm not necessarily engaging him. Necessarily. Every now and once or twice I've said something to him specifically, but I'm not engaging him. But he makes no comment. He doesn't say anything about what I have to say. He just puts that up. Now, why would you do that? Right? The reason for which somebody does that is because he wants all his friends and allies to see that,
and
right? And then start flooding my feed and pile on.
Hey, come and hate watch us.
One person did that. The interaction lasted, because I have a rule, right? I write something the first time to not let the BS go unanswered for unlockers.
Right.
If they answer again, I basically write the second time saying, okay, that's it. Thank you very much. And I mute.
Yes.
Unless they're like really, really, really abusive. Like this.
Right.
Because I mute so that they can see that they are muted. And then I wait to see if they decide to be, you're one of those people, right? Who needs to have the last word? Because I told you I'm not listening anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You just go back and go, you're still here? Jesus, get a life.
Well, no, it's not even that you're still here. And then, I don't see the tweet, right? I have to actually go back to the tweet to see if there's been a response. It's usually blocked, right? There's a little thing, this tweet is not visible. So then I click on it. I see what it is that they say. Usually it's something stupid, like a dismissive laugh, ha ha ha, or something stupid, or, your mother wears army boots or something like this. And it's like, okay. And then the next tweet is the second part of my policy. Now we've gone from, I see you're one of those people who must have the last word. Okay, fine. We've gone from mute to block. Right. And that's it. Like, I only block immediately if somebody's really, really abusive or like super obtuse. Yeah. And then generally I report the account as a spam account using multiple accounts too, because I do a profile check, and they're usually accounts like with fewer than 100 followers that are either new and fewer than 100 followers, or have been on Twitter for like allegedly 7 or 8 years and have accumulated all of 60 followers in that time.
Yeah, that's a bot.
Those are signs. Those are science kids. So those are my things. Those are my two things. That's my policy. I don't engage for a long time. I don't go into 15, 16, because I personally believe, I have no data based on this, but some of these people are paid to be here, and they probably get paid by the number of times we reply.
Oh,
or the number of
yeah.
characters they
Yeah,
generate.
number of clicks. Or
Yeah. And the goal here, their goal, right, when you meet one of these people that just keep a conversation very mindless going on over and over again, you keep responding and it's just stupid stuff. Their goal is to tie you up
oh yeah.
so that you're not talking to other people, spreading your good word
Mhm.
or your information. Or to exhaust you, to get you tired, to get you to quit first, and then you leave Twitter for the day or whatever social media for the day, and therefore you're no longer contributing to actually putting out rational discussion. That's the objective. So they never get more than 2 responses with me.
Right.
And then I either mute them or I block them because, bitch, you ain't using my platform to do what you do. So that's a personal policy, little social media literacy, and mental health preservation technique for those who want to borrow the strategy. Please do go ahead. Please do go ahead. I'm offering it up for you. We have Kit Ryan seen here. Oh,
Mr.
public
Otter.
service announcement. Please read it, Mr. Grizzly.
PSA, Twitter experienced a data breach last night, resulting in 200 million accounts being compromised. 63 gigabytes of data available on dark web, including names, emails, and other info. Change your password today.
Ooh,
good to know. Good to know.
Good to know. Okay, I will be doing that. I will be doing that.
As will I.
Yes.
I got to remember what my password is.
I know, right? Because you just leave it on?
Yep. I mean, the number of passwords I have to deal with in my life on a daily basis is enough to make a man go bald.
I see we have some other kids that have joined us this morning. Good morning, Kit Jen, you beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person. She is gorgeous.
Oh, yes.
She's absolutely gorgeous. When we had that New Year's Eve party, I saw her sitting there like this, and most of the time she was on mute. She came in every now and then, but you just saw her, and she's just
she had her
calm
bookcase
and
behind her,
serene. Gorgeous hair, and just she just looks so sweet. I want to meet her. I want her to pet me.
Well, maybe this summer when we do our pub tour of the pubcast, pub chat, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
So Jordan Peterson's been in the news, and he's got his bestseller, The 12 Rules, right? Which he wrote a couple of years back.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote something in 2013 called The Code. The Code for Men. And I wrote this. I'm going to put it up now. I'll leave it up for a little bit while we discuss it. It's The Code for Men. I wrote this in, when did I write this? August? August of 2013 at 9:47 in the morning.
Wow.
20 codes to follow. Number 1, always be polite, kind, and respectful, even to those who do not deserve it. What you do today has an effect on others. Number 2, do not knowingly flirt with, sleep with, or consort with a married woman. You don't want to be that guy.
Don't be that guy. Nobody likes that guy.
Nope. Number 3, defend those that cannot defend themselves. Number 4, when you see an injustice taking place, do your utmost to put a stop to it. Number 5, make an effort to tolerate the intolerable. You may have an opportunity to improve the situation. Asterisk, down at the very bottom, the asterisk states, do not tolerate intolerance, i.e., punch a Nazi, always. Number 6, don't steal, don't lie. No one likes a liar or a thief.
Right.
Stop a bully. Belittle him or her. Put them in their place. Then show compassion. This may help them to mend their ways. At the very least, put a stop to the act. Xenophobia. Number 8, xenophobia and racism is never tolerated. However, it must be dealt with sensitively and with compassion. The life you change today may affect generations to come. Number 9, point out what makes us all similar. Break down walls.
Yes.
And I'll stop at number 10 for now. Being a man means you sometimes have to walk away. A no-win situation will do you harm.
You got to know when to hold them.
There's 10 more of codes, and we'll come back to that later. But it's like if Jordan Peterson gets a bestseller out of his 12 rules, and one of them is clean your room, make your bed, and pet your cat. Come on, man. Really? Really? I think my 20 codes are probably, in my humble opinion, a little bit better to follow. Just me. Just me. Maybe I should get a bestseller. I got to talk to JB about how do I get a bestseller on Amazon. He has one.
Right. He does. He does. Good morning, Kid Baby. Nice to see you as well. I saw that when you posted that to me the other day, and I was trying to think of some of my own.
Mm-hmm.
Some
You
of
want to
my
put
own.
like a five or six to add to that, or augment, or any of them? Or I mean,
Well,
we can amend some of those too. They're not written in stone.
yeah, but I mean, like you have yours and I have mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like trying to write some down and like thinking, what are things? And came up with don't be a douche.
Yeah, yeah.
Rule number one of life: don't be a douche. Leave things better than you found them.
Oh yes.
Hold the door for others.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Always
Politeness.
look behind you when you're entering a door, going through a door in public, to see if there's someone behind you, so that you just don't let the door smack in their face.
It's a good rule. It's a good
Yeah,
rule.
every interaction with another living being is an opportunity to make their day a bit brighter.
Yes, it is. I
Yes,
agree.
you leave, like, just even like holding the door.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, oh, how
Smile.
nice.
Smile.
Yeah,
Smile. You
yeah.
know how much a
Walk down the street,
smile
look
can
someone in the eye, and nod.
can literally brighten up somebody else's day, and it will in turn do more for you than it does for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I do like the silly things, right? Going to the restaurant, and when the bill comes and I pay, they're like, "Thank you very much. It was wonderful."
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, yeah, yeah,
Like this, and actually looking someone in the eye when I'm saying, not like, "Yeah, thank you." Right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, "Thank you. It was nice."
Acknowledge the human being in front of you, because they're a human being and they'd like to be acknowledged for their
Yep.
efforts.
And when you say that, for example, every time I pass a panhandler on the street and they ask me for something, even though I typically do not give
Mm-hmm.
on the street, I'd rather give to an organization. I look them straight in the eye and say, "I'm sorry, I don't have anything
Well,
today."
I haven't
Or
carried
if they say,
cash
"Hello,
in
hello, nice
years.
to you," but I actually look at them. I don't walk by.
Well, and because where I live, I see
Right,
the same ones every day on Elgin Street.
right.
The same group every day. And they're always polite and cordial with me, because I see them all the time. They see me all the time. I never carry cash. I haven't carried cash in years. And I, like you, would prefer to give to a social program that will help.
Yep.
And somebody says, well, if you give money, they're just going to use it on drugs or alcohol. And I'm like, but that's what I'm going to use it on. Remember the song, The Underwear Goes Inside the Pants? You remember that song?
Yes. You leave your fingerprints all over every life you touch, so make sure yours is a good touch.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. I like the way you worded that. Yeah.
Never take criticism from people from whom you would not take advice. Very useful for
Good.
being on Twitter.
Oh, yes.
Never miss an opportunity to stretch. Always be stretching something,
You know, that,
physically
yeah.
or metaphorically,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
spiritually,
yeah. 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 Except
right?
for the truth. Don't stretch the
Oh,
truth.
to stretch the truth, yes. There is power in kindness.
A tremendous amount
Forgiveness
of it.
is a gift first one gives to oneself. Life is too short to eat bad food.
Oh, yeah. Or
Way too short to eat bad food.
drink bad whiskey.
Yes. So if you can, cook with buttercream, booze, or bacon. If you don't lie, you never have to keep track of what you said. I borrowed that one. And once you've considered all the alternatives, why would you not choose optimism and happiness?
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah, really. Hey, holy shit! I wish Beaver and Grizzly were in charge of the world. And I'm seeing
This
some
is a good
comments
one
there.
from Linda. This is a good one
Yes,
from Linda.
no
No
mansplaining.
mansplaining.
Yes. But you know what? Every now and then, sometimes I've been on Twitter, and the people that are just hell bent on twisting and twerking everything,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, no mansplaining, but just because I happen to have a penis does not mean I'm mansplaining.
That is correct. That is correct. You can make a gentle correction to somebody, and if they say, you're mansplaining, no, you made a huge, tremendous mistake, and I'm trying to show you the proper methodology. I
Mm-hmm.
had one yesterday where a person who resides here in Ottawa made a comment on somebody else who said, we need to nationalize the grocery change. We need to have a $20 minimum wage. We need to have this, that, and all things that I thought were good. And this one person said, no, if you nationalize them, that's terrible. It's going to cost us money. Look what happened with Bombardier and Air Canada. And I replied, but those companies are publicly traded. To nationalize a company means the government takes over control of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we, the public, would own it.
Mm-hmm.
and that's not the case. So I gave her a list of
Right.
Crown Corps, and I gave her literally
They were at one point.
they were at one point. That's right.
Right.
I don't know if Bombardier ever was, but Air Canada certainly
Bombardier
was.
was not, yeah.
No,
But Air
no,
Canada was,
Bombardier's
yes.
always been.
And Petro-Canada was.
That's right. Yes, and I gave her the dictionary description of what nationalizing a company means, and I wasn't trying to mansplain. I was just trying to I don't like your. I know what you're trying to say,
Right.
but you're really wrong, and here's what it actually means. And I was trying to be really gentle, but it doesn't always come across in the written word. Now, I didn't get a response, and I didn't get any hate from anybody, so who knows if it fell on deaf ears. I mean, well, that's a terrible thing to say because we have to read it.
I'd like to apologize to the deaf community for saying it.
you knew I was going there with a Scotsman on that one.
Yes.
It's tough to get a nickel out of an Aberdonian. I'd like to apologize to... I'd like to apologize for that previous apology, for the apology that I made prior to that.
Yes. And as Kit Linda says, that's not mansplaining. We know what real mansplaining is. Yes. And I know that you kids know that because you are bright, informed, and engaged people. But I'm talking about the people that are online that exist solely to keep an argument mindless and going for as long as it possibly can.
We call them trolls.
Right. So we have a lazy Sunday from Wade here saying, in regard to rule number 2, that's for you, Mr. Grizzly. My wife is a married woman. Should I no longer flirt with, sleep, or consort with her? I need some clarity on this.
Okay, I'll clarify that. As a single man, as a single man, you shouldn't do that. As a married man, please flirt with, consort with, and sleep with your wife on every opportunity. Date her, flirt with her, wine her, dine her. You know how the rest of that saying goes.
Oh my! Gee, all of a sudden it's
not going to complete the sentence. Not going to complete. You know how it goes.
Early morning titillation on our morning show. And Kit Jen says, laugh out loud, I'm married. A little flirt is okay. To the lovely person to whom lovely Jen is married, that was not a flirt. It's more like a puppy asking for some scritches behind the ears. When I said I want her to pet me.
And this is a good zinger from Jen. The satisfaction of calling grown men baby girl on Twitter is too great. You know what? Don't ever stop doing that.
Never stop doing that.
No, I won't do it. I won't do it because it's it doesn't come off the same way from me.
Mm-hmm.
But ladies, please never stop doing that. I mean,
my favorite is Poodle.
Poodle.
Oh, Poodle. Well, that's so cute.
This one guy yesterday kept trying to insult me. He goes, "Nice fedora." I'm like, "It's a trilby, you troglodyte. If you're going to insult my fashion sense and hat wear, at least know what the fuck I'm wearing." Jesus Christ. You're fucking old and ugly. Well, that's your opinion.
Yeah, that's a matter of taste.
Yeah, he's going, "Stop harassing me." I'm not harassing you. Yeah, you're getting your friends to harass me. No, I tagged 2 people to let them know what I'm trying to deal with here. I didn't harass you, sir. I could have. I chose not to. I didn't insult you. I didn't harass you. I didn't even swear at you. I think I called him a shithead once because he was being a real shithead. But that's the extent of it. Like, I've taken a lesson from you, sir. I've taken a lesson. I took the high road. Road.
But it's not an insult if it is a declarative statement of fact.
This is true.
Like sometimes it's like, your behavior. One of these things I like to say, and you get people, right? It's like, you're behaving like a child. You called me childish. No, I didn't say you were childish. I said your behavior. The comment was not about you. It was about your behavior.
I don't owe you anything. You owe me an explanation. You made this outlandish statement, trying to tell it off as fact. It's a libelous statement, by the way, and you have no evidence to back it up. That's not libelous. Yeah, actually it is. You're saying that he paid off his own family members. You're saying that he earned $385 million off the backs of Canadians. You have no proof of any of this. Yep. And you published it online. It's on Twitter for the whole world to see. That's a libelous statement.
Yeah. And if you had said it, it would be slanderous.
Yes. Publishing is libelous.
Libel and slander, kids.
That's right. That's
right. And both of them are defamation.
Yes. and both of them can land you in hot water. Speaking of hot water,
yes,
like
please.
that segue.
I
Mr.
do.
Galen Weston. Let me just pull. I got to pull down the. Hang on a second. I got to pull down the logo. Galen Weston is a robber baron that Canadian media actively enabled when they ran his freezing the cost of no-name products stunt as a news story. Galen Weston is an oligarch that has monopolized life necessities. His little sweater vest act in their ads doesn't change that. Okay. This is. I didn't put up the name of the individual who tweeted that by choice, because a lot of people have come for her, and I don't.
Right. Don't want to attract more.
Exactly. And then somebody responded to that tweet with this one. He's also on the board of Sunnybrook and owns Maple Private Online Healthcare. Doug Ford is destroying Ontario healthcare to benefit the Westons.
Yes.
Everything in both those tweets is 100% accurate. Nothing slanderous or libelous about them, because they're 100% true, factual statements.
Mm-hmm. Now, the term robber, that's where people could get in trouble.
They could get in trouble for that one. Yes. They could get in trouble for that one.
But then, if everything's based on fact, you can say fair comment. Or I was speaking figuratively, or right. But it's, you have to choose your words carefully.
Another reason why I chose not to put her name up, right?
Right.
But everything else in there, the robber baron, okay, we could strike that, but everything else is 100% true.
Yep.
It was a stunt. We're freezing the cost of no-name products, something they do at the same time every single year. It was a PR stunt, nothing more. And all the
PR genius, but
PR genius, because all the media companies in Canada got together and said, look what he's doing. It's common practice. This is nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing it for decades.
Mm-hmm.
This is nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
It's like years ago, I remember I turned on the news, and without saying the name of the company, I think it was City Pulse News, or was it City? I can't remember. Anyway, I turned on the news, and they had this live on camera thing to the opening of a new athletic shoe store in the Toronto Eaton Centre. This is what kicked off the 6 p.m. news.
Right.
Why are you advertising for a multi-billion-dollar corporation?
Right.
Because that's what you're doing. This is not news. I'm guessing somebody got paid to do that. Mm-hmm. Because if they didn't, you just gave a ton of free advertising at 6 p.m. when you have the highest viewership.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? Make them pay for the ads on your station.
Right. And Kit Linda here says adds an important context here, but robber baron is a specific historical reference, so that could be a fair comparison reference.
That's true.
There you go. See, I did not know that. See, I'm learning stuff today now.
No, I knew the reference. I did actually know the reference, believe it or not. I'm not the smartest or brightest bulb on the Christmas tree or the sharpest crayon in the box, but I did know that one. Yeah. I do remember a fair bit of history, and we're headed towards feudalism. We're serfs right now, people. We're serfs.
Yeah. So speaking of the guy, Jordan Peterson, because he put that thing up, right? And like this, and I basically just thanked him for giving me free publicity, because, while he's trying to set his minions on me, there's tons of people on his Twitter feed who are there to counter him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And he just let all of them know where I am and where to find me. And on our Twitter feed, we've gained about probably 30 or 40 followers since I appeared on Dean's show.
Nice.
The other day, and Jordan Peterson did that. So I think, what was it, 2 days ago I was on Dean's show? We were talking about Jordan Peterson. So if you kids watched that show, this might be a little repetitive, but for those who haven't, Mr. Grizzly's away from the thing. But Jordan Peterson managed single-handedly to create a media event. Let's put it that way. Mr. Grizzly, if you would share the screen, please.
Happy to, sir.
All right. Mr. Peterson decided to tweet this up here on January 3rd at 11:11 a.m. Breaking. The Ontario College of Psychologists has demanded that I submit myself to mandatory social media communications retraining with their experts for, among other crimes, retweeting Pierre Poilievre and criticizing Justin Trudeau and his political allies. Now, the first part of that is true. The Ontario College of Psychologists have indeed demanded that he submit himself to mandatory social media communications retraining with their experts.
Mm-hmm.
That's true because he posted the letter from the cottage, from the
Dougie.
college. I got Doug Ford on the mind because I see Kit BB tweeting about him, about the college. But is it for retweeting Pierre Poilievre and criticizing Justin Trudeau and his political allies? Or is it for something else?
I'm guessing it's
We
for
don't
something
know.
else.
We have to take Jordan's word for it because the college, Ontario College of Psychologists, have not said anything publicly about this. And when asked by such intrepid journalists as Brian Lilly, they basically said, we're not saying anything about this because a professional order, when they're about to do anything disciplinary or on the road to doing something disciplinary, do not speak about it in public so as to protect their member from false accusations, false claims, bad reputation. They try to resolve it internally first, but he decided to go public. Now, of course, retweeting Pierre Poilievre and Justin Trudeau are not crimes.
No.
So, remember when we were doing that thing about Joe Walsh where she was like standing like this with the people about to arrest her or something like this, and she's held the peace sign. She says, I got arrested for taking this photo.
Oh, yes.
You didn't get arrested for taking that photo, right? Your charges were like counseling for public mischief and all that kind of stuff. It's like, it wasn't the photo. It's like, girlfriend, the thing for which you got charged probably happened before you took that photo, right? History didn't start the moment you took that photo. Well, like this. It's not retweeting Peter Poilievre that got you sanctioned, and it's not for criticizing Justin Trudeau. People criticize him every day. It might have been what you said when you criticized or how you did it, and these are not crimes. So he's lying and casting himself as victim right away. I have been accused of harming people, although none of the complainants involved are in the current action were clients of mine, past or present, or were even acquainted with any of my clients. So he says. I am to take a course of such training with reports documenting my progress or face an in-person tribunal suspension of my rights to operate as a licensed clinical psychologist. You do not have a right to operate as a licensed clinical psychologist. That is a privilege granted to you by the college. And it usually requires you signing some documents or taking some oaths to, like, first do no harm and to, conduct yourself in a manner that holds the reputation of the profession in high regard and high esteem by all people onlooking who might be seeking your services, which is something, let's say, arguably, he has not been doing. We'll just say that. Yes, or privilege with conditions, right? Privilege with conditions. Very well stated, Kit Jen. Absolutely. About a dozen people from all over the world submitted complaints about my public statements. A dozen? I probably submitted a dozen complaints. Well, not to the college, but at least online, just to myself, poodle. About a dozen people from around the world. So all this is based on about a dozen people complaining, according to him. Yeah. And a dozen people complaining about his statements over on Twitter and Rogan over a 4-year period out of the 15 million who follow me on social media. The number of people who follow you on social media has no bearing whatsoever on whether what you say is true or not, or the manner in which you comport yourself is dignified or not.
I'm going to go with the physician heal thyself. This dude needs help.
Well, you know that thing we were talking about the other day? It's like, oh, that the John Carpe. I can't believe they're like prosecuting him for something he did 18 months ago.
Oh.
How long ago you did it doesn't matter. What matters is that you did it.
Well, I only killed that person 20 years ago. Yeah, there's no statute of limitations on murder, okay?
Right. So it's like, I have 15 million people who follow me. So the people who complained about something actually wrong that I did, they don't matter because I have 15 million people who are going to decide to disregard that or not following me. Like,
that's what he's basically saying.
It's not the way it works, Poodle. Not the way it works. Like, and claiming that I had harmed people, not them, with my views. So you can only make so, for example, if your neighbor, you hear them beating the crap out of his wife, you can't make the complaint because he didn't beat you. Right? Is that what you're saying, Jordan? Is that what you're saying?
I guess.
Only the people I do directly harm can complain. Nobody has a right to. Nobody can see the harm going on and say, hey, this guy's harming someone. You should maybe stop that.
It's what he's saying, right? I mean,
it's what he's saying. And then you get Elon Musk responding with like 2 exclamation marks, right? And then somebody asks him, what are the other things, right? Because among other crimes.
It's the incel circle jerk is what they call it, right?
Right. So what are his other crimes? Criticizing climate change models, objecting to surgery on gender dysphoric minors, warning Canadians it was wrong for social service workers and police to threaten to apprehend the children of the trucker convoy protesters. I'll provide all the details legally allowed to me. There's nothing legal that stops you from saying what it is that you've been accused of. I mean, you've posted the letter. You're announcing to the world that you're being brought into this. So if it would be illegal for you to say what it is they are accusing you of, then it would be illegal for saying that you're being accused of something or that you've been called in. So it's not illegal, right? So what are your other crimes? Oh, my hands are tied. My hands are tied. I can't tell that. But look, I'm being persecuted. Well, here's the letter. But I can't show you what they're accusing me of.
Yeah.
Because in their letter, they did not publicly state. Because the college is professional. Whereas Jordan is not.
That's the thing. They can't publicly state it because there are, well, I'm not only just professional ethics, but there's laws around that too.
Yes. And again, criticizing a climate change model, objecting to surgery on gender dysphoric minors, right? Which I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen. I'm pretty sure the first do no harm part.
Yeah.
Also, they're probably waiting.
You'd be hard pressed to find a surgeon in North America that would be willing to perform that type of surgery. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there who would. I'm sure there's some back alley doctor who would be willing to do that if there was the right amount of money involved. But
because there are shitty people everywhere.
Yes.
Right.
But it's not happening in the province of Ontario funded by OHIP.
Yeah. Warning Canadians that it would be wrong for social service workers to police to threaten to apprehend the children of the trucker convoy protesters. That's not a crime. That's not illegal. Would it be wrong? In some cases, maybe. Not in all cases. Because you could make a case that these kids were being subjected to living conditions that no child should probably be living under. So, again, just nailing himself to crosses and saying all that kind of stuff. And then he got asked, you can share these anytime, Mr. Grizzly, if you want on there.
Sure.
Ask, are you going to place the text of the letter online? And then there's 3 different instances talking about stuff where Jordan Peterson's all over the place. First, I can't. Confidentiality. But if the organization agrees, the college agrees, I'd do it in a second. So again, my hands are tied. And then, of course, a very informed and engaged person responds, governing bodies default to confidential tribunals to prevent a witch hunt against the accused in case of not guilty, and also for when patient info is involved. Only verdict punishment is published. In this case, it appears patient confidentiality is not an issue, mostly because Jordan has waived it. And of course, it has nothing to do with him treating patients. It's about his online social behavior.
Right.
Then somebody asks him again, I'd love to see that demand letter if you're willing to post or share it. And this is the very same day. I'll post a screenshot tomorrow.
He did it.
Did Mr. Peterson get that agreement from the College of Psychologists of Ontario that he said he needed in a previous tweet before he committed to posting the screenshot tomorrow?
Makes one wonder, eh?
He did not supply proof of that.
And then breach.
Yes, and then he goes, here are the demands made of me with regard to my re-education. So we've gone from, in the first tweet, which was true, submit myself to mandatory social media communication retraining with their experts, to my re-education. Now, what does the word re-education suggest? Re-education, re-education camps, Holocaust, Uyghurs.
Oh yeah, it's a dog whistle,
right?
It's a dog whistle.
Yep. It's like Mariah Carey, and only Mariah Carey dogs and people who listen to Jordan Peterson can hear that sound. Just saying. And then the next day, I mentioned yesterday that I wanted to make the details of the accusations made against me by the Ontario College of Psychologists public. Here's a string beginning that process. And he basically repeats stuff said the day before. I plan as soon as possible to make all the allegations and my responses as public as possible while abiding by the ethical and legal restrictions on doing so, at least insofar as those rules are clear and commensurate with truth and a reasonable defense. Okay, there is so much freaking bullshit going on there. Hand me a freaking shovel.
He needs to spend time at a treatment center.
Yep. I will make all the allegations and my responses public. The only thing he's making public is the letter and what he claims. None of the actual accusations, none of that have been made public. He hasn't made them public. While abiding by the ethical and legal restrictions on doing so, the whole reason you're in this mess is because you refuse to abide by the ethical and legal restrictions to your public commentary that you agreed to when you received your license. In parentheses, at least insofar as those rules are clear and commensurate with the truth and a reasonable defense. And I guess you get to decide what are clear rules and what is commensurate with the truth, and reasonable defense. And given your grasp on truth, seems to be just a tad little shaky. Just a smidge. Poodle. Okay. Right. Jen says, what a load. Dude needs help. Not only a load, a loaf. Okay. That's literally the Twitter equivalent of popping a squat, squeezing one out. I'm calling it like I see it.
Well,
okay. That's a slalom rundown, bullshit mountain. All right. So after all of that, to clarify, it's been, I like this. Hold on. I have to just, to clarify, it has been decided I either submit to social media communication retraining or face a disciplinary hearing and possible suspension of my critical license and the right to represent myself as a psychologist. That's the Muppet Show, says Jordan Peterson. Again, so my right to represent myself as a psychologist. Well, yeah, if you get your license taken away, then I guess you lose the right to represent yourself. Well, the privilege, again, not a right. To represent yourself as a psychologist. Poodle, coming closer. You haven't been much of one for the last 7 years or so. Just saying.
Just saying. Just saying. Okay. We're going to write a song. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying.
Just saying in the rain. Just saying in the rain. So yeah, of course, that was in response to Elon Musk going, that is extremely concerning. I actually, my hand right here, where like this, the clutch pearls. Like this. And then Elon Musk, of course, in true Elon Musk style, Please live stream this on Twitter Spaces. Yes, because you can live stream your disciplinary hearing.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that. Here's what I'm gonna flash one up quickly from Rod Farva's leader of Cola.
Yep.
This is a good one. It's in response to a Jordan Peterson tweet, but he, instead of giving Jordan Peterson airtime, he screen caps it and then check this out. Jordan B. Peterson, 91% of those who view my videos are male. Why so few women? Because you're a woman-hating incel, obviously.
Duh. Right.
Well, it's pot. Introduce yourself to the kettle. You're going to get along great.
So this is like, but when they say it's like the pot calling the kettle black, this is like the pot calling the cauldron.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So of course, and then some twit chimes in with, I wouldn't be surprised if they pressed for closed door hearings. They don't need to press.
That's how it is.
Closed door hearings. That's standard operating procedure. So, but again, you're seeing this in real time, right? The setup for the next victim, the next path, because this one's going to close down, right? Right. The letter and his retraining and all the kids. So now the crime has to be that they're hiding. They're not being transparent and they're hiding this from the people, right?
Check this out.
To which,
check this out from Linda.
Oh,
just check the CPO website, and disciplinary hearings are open to the public.
They are.
Well, we're going to have to tune into that one.
Well.
That website might be crashed that day.
Oh,
because all his incel followers are going to be all over that one.
Disciplining. So that surprises me.
Yeah, usually those are closed door. This is that's interesting. I've never heard that before.
College really because to me, in my experience, all of this stuff has always been closed door. Instead, if they're open to the public, that means if you get to that point, what you have done is so egregious and probably publicly known and visible that they're okay with the transparency because they're pretty sure that if you get to that point, the college is going to be on the right side of that historical argument.
You're done. You're done. Just throw your chips and get out of there. You're finished.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much, Linda.
Yes.
Very. No. Yes. There's a hearing schedule, but he's not on the list yet, so it's not scheduled yet. No, because he officially has to really formally decline. Now he says he has, and while he has made public the letter asking him to come in for retraining, he has not made public the letter saying that he formally declined this invitation. Then, of course, that is extremely concerning from Elon Musk. Oh, it's worse than you think. It's worse than you think in Canada, Elon Musk. Regulated professionals are now terrified into silence by their respective colleges. This means they are no longer able to say what they believe to be true. And who needs that from their lawyers, physicians, or psychologists? Oh, I can't tell you that. No, poodle. You are not, nobody, as I made the point on the previous show, there are many professions for which when you're on your own time, you are not allowed to say everything you believe to be true, right? Not what is true,
code of conduct.
What I believe is true. And I should actually say what I choose to believe is true.
Well, and what he fails to realize, too, for some reason, for this supposed genius that everybody seems to think he is, he tweets out outlandish shit all the time.
All the time. If all the things he tweets are things that he believes to be true.
Look, it's fine to have a conversation over cocktails, but when you put it in print for the entire planet to see,
you hold yourself up as basically the world's psychologist to young men needing guidance.
He's completely unhinged. He needs help. He needs therapy. He might need some medication. He needs to get offline for 30 days, if not more.
He needs somebody help, not just anybody help.
Speaking of help, I got to show you this video because this Reverend Raphael Warnock.
Okay, are you taking me off Peterson at the moment?
Just, do you have more Peterson stuff?
I've got way more Peterson.
Oh, okay. We'll come back to this then. Keep going.
Okay. All right. So then, other people are asking them, is everyone being subject to this nonsense or is it just you? It's like, oh, it's way more widespread than you think. The social justice warrior types have weaponized the domain of professional misconduct complaints, and the colleges themselves have become bastions of woke sensibility, particularly in oh so nice Canada. Yes, because this is going on particularly here. It's not like a universal standard where there's a professional organization. Then this is the one that made me so happy. It's like, where do I submit a complaint that the College of Ontario has harmed me by bringing these frivolous claims against you? Information available here, and he gives him a web link for him to complain. Please write on my behalf. And then the guy actually, if you put this up, the person who wrote this, who actually thinks that if you write him writing a complaint to the College of Psychologists of Ontario like this for the frivolous claim made against Peterson to have harmed him.
I need you to do two things. Two things. Go over to the left, close the navigation thing. Click the X on the navigation on your screen, way over on the left. See where it says navigation?
I do not. Where does it say navigation?
On your Word document that I've just shared the screen. It says
navigation.
Yes, sorry, close that. Yes. Yeah, close that. And then blow up the page because we can't see it.
Yeah.
You should have an increase in the bottom right-hand corner.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Sorry.
Yeah. You got to blow that up so we can read it because it's way too small.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Well, yeah, that works.
There we go. Okay. So, I mean, you don't necessarily, I mean, if you want to pause, if you're watching this on video and you want to pause it, and I'm definitely not going to read it. But this guy spent this much time out of his life writing to the college because he claims he's being harmed because Jordan Peterson is being called in
for doing bad stuff.
This much time out of this is,
yeah,
your life is precious, buddy. Why are you doing this with it for that guy?
Because he's part of the cult that is.
But that's what.
The
but
JP
that's a
crew.
sign, right? But that's a sign of just how much power this guy has.
Oh yeah.
Right,
he's a cult leader.
You look at this, and your first instinct is to laugh and to giggle until you realize just how scary and frightening this is.
Agreed.
This guy has invested this much.
Yeah.
Nothing but pity. I have nothing but pity for this man who felt he needed to do this.
Yeah, it's
This is sad. Right? When you say your difference between empathy and compassion and whatnot. Compassion, man.
Yeah. No empathy, but I do have compassion for this person. I mean, dude, he's never going to fuck you.
Right? Right?
Oh,
God. So, and then he says, not only is he not going to go, but he's going to mount a constitutional challenge. So, put this one up. Get another violin here. I'm going to blow this up a little bit here. I'm mounting a constitutional challenge, but have little faith in the remaining integrity of the Canadian judiciary. And I can't believe I'm now faced with the necessity of doing such things and not believing they will work. The law's against me now. Now it's not just the order.
The problem is his followers will swallow that hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, and
there's no constitutional challenge to be had.
No, because the Supreme Court has already decided long ago that professional orders have sole jurisdiction, number one. And number two, nothing posted about the court papers he's filed either.
Nothing. Yeah.
Just saying. I mean, again, right? What are you looking for? Oh, I'm going to file a constitutional challenge. Okay, well, there's definitely no confidentiality around that. So if you posted the letter, certainly if you're going to mount a constitutional challenge, I mean, that's a big deal. I'm going to take this to the Supreme Court. You would post your filing, right?
Yeah. One would think, right?
No pledge to do that. And then, so we get to the actual letter. And this is, if you'll put this up, Mr. Grizzly.
Sure thing.
There you go. Number one, I acknowledge. So this is basically all. Number one is everything that the College of Psychologists of Ontario is saying publicly about the situation.
Mhm.
I acknowledge that the Inquiries, Complaints, and Reports Committee of the College of Psychologists of Ontario is concerned about the following aspects of my public statements contained in the Registrar's report dated May 17th, 2022. 1 point, that I may have lacked professionalism in public statements made on social media and during a January 25th, 22 podcast appearance. That's all the college has said publicly. And the college did not make this letter public. Jordan did. So nobody would know about this at all if it weren't for the fact that when Jordan found out about this, he ran to Home Depot, got himself a nail gun, cut a couple of 2x4s, and decided to play Jesus.
Yeah. Get down off the cross, dude. We need the wood.
Right? Okay. So that I may have, the college is not even accusing you having lacked professionalism yet, but that you may have, and that we need to look into this. Because maybe the reason for which you did these stupid things in public and put your name and face to it has nothing to do with you being unprofessional, but maybe you needing help, like a psychologist.
Well, and I love the coaching program, people who are assigned to him, the doctors
Right?
assigned to him.
That's why I highlighted it. Because point 3 is particularly delicious, and it appeals to my bitchy queen, my inner bitchy queen. I undertake to work with either Dr. Erica Abner, LLM, LLB, PhD, or Gail Siskind, RN, MA, to review, reflect on, and ameliorate my professionalism in public statements. What do you notice about those two names, Mr. Grizzly?
The ladies.
Ladies!
All the single ladies. Well, maybe they're not single. I don't know, but the song fits, right?
All the psychologist ladies.
Get your hands
All the
up.
psychologist ladies. All the psychologist. It doesn't roll off the tongue, but you get the beat. Right?
All the psych ladies. All the psych ladies. All the psych
All
ladies.
the psych ladies. All the psych ladies. Put your hands up.
You gotta get the whole. Get the hip motion in there. I'd have to pant way out.
Oh, every now and then the universe just gives us these little droplets of heaven.
All the psych ladies, all the psych. We got to put that to music, dude. We'll take Beyonce's beat and we'll drop psych ladies instead of single ladies.
Oh my word, this is so beautiful.
Psych ladies, all the psych ladies.
I will complete the coaching program within 6 months of receiving the decision that you have to actually take the coaching program. The coach, all the stuff that he needs to do, that's all pretty basic stuff. Nothing really eye-raising about that. Number 12. If the coach provides any unfavorable information about my practice, the registrar may proceed to investigate new concerns arising. What do you think there are the odds that there will be new concerns arising, Mr. Grizzly?
Excellent.
Excellent, Mr. Slithers. Excellent. Jeez. 13. Now, this must really, another one that must stick it right horizontally into his craw. I am fully responsible for any and all costs associated with satisfaction of the terms of this acknowledgement and undertaking.
You're on the hook, bud.
If you look at number 15, I understand that the coach will bill the college for work done in association with this undertaking at an hourly rate not to exceed $225 as established by college policy, or at the coach's previously established rate for a specific course of education. Looks like you're gonna need to sell some books. Or the other way around. Well, honey, you've got 13 million or 15 million followers that you bragged about to whom you sell books. I mean,
ask them for
$25 an hour. That's nothing. You could afford that.
For a donation. Yeah, we'll have a GoFundMe for Jordan Peterson.
Yes. In the arms
dude needs help, man. He needs help.
Far away from here. For just $5 a day, you can support a Jordan Peterson. Don't let him languish in media retraining and re-education camp all alone.
I got
Look
it.
at his poor puppy dog eyes.
I just got it. We'll do all the psych ladies, but we'll do the cake version. All the
Oh,
psych ladies. All the psych ladies. We'll do it. We'll do it like Cake did their "I Will Survive" version, because I
right.
can't hit Beyonce's notes.
Right. I can do a couple of runs, but yeah, I mean, she's the queen, right?
Oh yeah.
She hits those notes. Good morning, Kit Bruce. Yes, late joining, but better late than never. And we don't care when you get here, so long as you get here. So welcome. And then we keep going. And then 23, I'm aware that if I do not comply with the terms set out in this acknowledgement and undertaking, which he's already said he's not going to comply, not only with the terms, but he's just not going to comply with the undertaking and not going to acknowledge this. This may result in an allegation of professional misconduct, and the college may take disciplinary action in this regard. And you know what? Hey, if you want to fast forward to the part where we get to eat popcorn, I'm good with that, honey.
Well, and I can almost picture him in the disciplinary hearing now. He's Al Pacino in what was that film?
Scarface?
No, late 70s.
Okay.
I'm out of order. You're out of order. This whole courtroom's out of order. And justice for all.
Yes, and justice for all. Yep. Okay, and like I see, like Kid Jen putting the popcorn things like this. Add some 3D glasses and a tub of cola so big you can do laps in.
This is going to be entertaining. Let me entertain you.
And the fraud psychologist getting a hearing. That's entertainment. Always love a good Ethel Merman reference. Okay. And then, you know that thing we talk about, the echo chamber? Mm-hmm. So breaking leads to the counter signal. Jordan Peterson says College of Psychologists threatening him over anti-Trudeau tweets. Boom. True North. Not us. We're the original. We had the name first, but the other True North people. Again, like, you know that Mariah Carey meme? Like, I don't know her.
I don't know her.
I don't know her. I don't know them. Jordan Peterson says.
Yeah.
Notice the trend. He is being subjected to mandatory social media communication retraining. At least they didn't say re-education. They took his first tweet. Due to his political comments on Twitter that include criticizing Prime Minister Trudeau. The Daily Wire. Dr. Jordan Peterson blasts Canada's commissars.
Der Kommissar.
Don't turn around. The commissars in town. After board threatens his license. I guess they threatened his license, but they only threatened his license if he didn't want to come in for some retraining about how he handles himself on social media. And then he said it may lead to a disciplinary hearing, and not that it would.
May.
If that's a threat, it's a mild one. And now we got the Toronto Sun. So first, all these like little sort of quote unquote independent medias, right? Pick it up. And then because 3 of them pick it up, now it becomes a story. So it goes to a mainstream paper, the Toronto Sun. Jordan Peterson threatened with psychologist license being revoked over political statements online. And then, of course, gets an invitation from the National Harper Post, like this, to write something, and says, this will be front page of the print edition of Canada's National Post.
See, and here is why he needs help, because the things that he's doing and saying is going to get somebody hurt. Somebody is going to be harmed by this. I'm seriously worried for the safety of people on that board. I mean it. He is riling up his base. He is rage farming them with bullshit, because you want to make the grass grow, you gotta spread the fertilizer. And my God, he's spreading it thick and deep, and somebody could get seriously harmed. And the guy needs help, but he needs to shut his mouth before somebody gets seriously hurt. And I am genuinely concerned about that. Yeah. I mean, like January 6th, right? Today's January 6th.
Yep.
Remember?
Yep.
Remember what happened in the U.S.? Yep. All over one guy rage farming, constantly saying, they're picking on me. They stole the election. Well, how's he not doing the same Pardon me, damn thing. How's he not doing the same damn thing?
Right. So in his article that he himself wrote for the National Post, that anyone anywhere in the world can levy a complaint to these regulatory bodies for any reason, regardless of whether the complainant has had any direct contact with the professional in question. Blah, blah, blah. Like this, the Ontario College of Psychologists has leveled a multitude of such lawsuits against me since my rise to public prominence 6 years ago, although none at all in the 20 years or so I practiced as a psychologist before that. Well, yeah, that's because back then you weren't a vainglorious person seeking to get your affirmation and people agreeing with your really backwards and dangerous beliefs in a social media forum. So there was no reason for that before.
Do you not hear him crying out, love me, say that you love me? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a cry for that, isn't it?
Yes. Affirm me, confirm me. It's just, these have multiplied of late and now number more than a dozen. I would probably go out on a limb and say it's triple or quadruple digits, not just a dozen. This seems like a big action to take for just a dozen from anywhere, anyone around the world. I mean, about what, 9 billion people on the planet now? Or 8? No, 8. Sorry, 8.
Yeah, 8. Yeah.
We crossed 8, sorry. Yeah, I keep on mixing.
We'll
It's 39 million Canadian, 8. 8 billion people on the planet. A dozen out of 8 billion would prompt that? I don't think so. I don't think so. I guess, again, no proof to that. No proof to that. And then there's, where there's smoke, there's fire, so people think, blah, blah, blah. For my crimes, I have been sentenced to a course of mandatory social media communication training. Again, break out the violins and the bongos. If I agree to this, then I must admit that I have been unprofessional in my conduct. But you have, Blanche, you have. You are in that chair. And, and to have noted that publicly, even as the college insists that I am not required to admit any wrongdoing, if I refuse, and I have, of course, refused, again, has submitted no proof of his refusal, the next step is mandatory public disciplinary session inquiry and the possible suspension of my clinical license, all of which will also be announced publicly. I should also point out that the steps already taken constitute the second most serious possible response to my transgressions on the part of the college. I have been placed in the category of repeat offender. Again, but you are, Blanche. You are in that chair, with high risk of further repetition. But again, you have so... Look at everything that you are doing right now. Is it any wonder that they say that you are at high risk of further repetition? You are still doing it in this article. What exactly have I done that is so seriously unprofessional that I am now in danger not to only new potential clients but to the public himself? And then he lists. I retweeted a comment made by Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre about the unnecessary severity of the COVID lockdowns. I criticized Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I criticized Justin Trudeau's former Chief of Staff, Gerald Butts. I criticized an Ottawa City Councillor, and I made a joke about the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern. I'm going to, again, go out on a limb here and say that those are not as stated, are not the reasons for which he's been called.
You think?
Nobody gets called in for having just retweeted. You know that thing, like, it's like, I'm a gardener and I'm a gardener and I like to play Scrabble and I take my son to Little League baseball games. Pierre Trudeau calls me an extremist and says I must be dealt with.
Yeah, that was a cut and paste, right?
Yeah. I bet you're a little more than just that. And I'm betting that the little more than just that you are is probably where the reason for which people are thinking that you're an extremist comes from. I don't remember anybody having been sanctioned for extreme gardening. Just saying. Just saying. Right? So it's not simply retweeting a comment made by Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre about the unnecessary severity of COVID lockdowns that got you called in for some social media re-education. Oh, sorry. I mean, training. Oh, fuck, I'm a bitch today.
You took an extra big helping of saucy bitch this morning.
Oh man, jeez. Okay, and then I did all that, quote, disrespectfully, by the way, in a horrific manner that spread misinformation and was threatening and harassing. That was embarrassing to the profession. That's a lot of quotes. I am also, these are separate offenses, sexist, transphobic, incapable of the requisite body positivity in relationship to morbid obesity, and unforgivably of all, a climate change denialist.
Yeah,
well, admitting it is the first step, Jordan. 11 more steps to go.
See, it's funny because it's true. I'm not laughing at his misery. He just keeps digging himself in deeper. It's like when you're digging a hole that you're in, stop digging.
Dig up. Dig up.
Dude, shovel the dirt into the hole so you can get out of it. But nope, just gonna keep going. If I keep digging, maybe I'll get out of this. No, you won't. You're getting in deeper by the moment.
Everything I've been sentenced to correction for saying is insufficiently leftist politically. I'm simply too classically liberal, or even more unforgivably conservative.
Oh yeah, let's talk about liberals, shall we?
Oh my God, this guy.
A conservative says it hasn't happened to me, so I don't care. A liberal says it should never happen to anyone, and that's why I care. So, Jordan, you
Jordan,
you did this to yourself.
So there, I put the link to the National Post thing there for you, Mr. Grizzly, if you want to share with the kids, if the kids want to see the enormity of the BS that this guy is shoveling for themselves. Now, and this culminated visual in the media with the editorial board at the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, and what did they have to say?
Just, well, I guess we can go look at it. I read it yesterday, but I didn't. There was nothing.
Sorry.
No,
okay.
No.
I thought you had it up there.
No, there was nothing.
Nothing worth.
Nothing particularly noteworthy. Let's just put it that way. So, opinion: the campaign to re-educate Jordan Peterson from the editorial board. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, I guess it's now behind a paywall.
Wonderful.
It wasn't yesterday. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this, because sometimes if you go to the cached version, that's a little thing, by the way. Nope, it's still there too. But there was, I read it yesterday, and there was nothing that 2 days ago, and there was nothing that particularly stood out. There was nothing inflammatory or anything, and it just the general framing, which was wrong. Take note, colleges, I'm making what is happening public. If the public believes, okay, this is the one. Take note, colleges, College of Psychologists of Ontario. If I am making what is happening public, if the public believes I'm guilty, I will take the required course of communication and then resign. The public has no say.
I don't believe he'll resign anyway.
Yeah, but if the public believes I'm guilty, which public? His 15 million or the general public? It's like, listen here, Poodle. The public outside your echo chamber already believes you are guilty. So, like, can we just fast forward to the part where you resign? Number two, the public doesn't get a vote. This is not a thing. This is not a thing.
I know.
But that's why he's framing it this way, right? Like this, oh yeah, like if the public decides I've done something wrong, yes, I will fall on my sword and I will resign because I'm a noble. Like, this is not a thing. This is not. Which public will you acknowledge? Which votes will you consider? How will you hold this vote? This is not a thing. This is not the thing. If, however, you're ally, then a public apology and the resignation of everyone involved in the process on your side is appropriate. Again, who is going to determine that the grounds are baseless? The college is either going to determine that there's something there or not something there after doing an investigation. There's enough evidence to warrant an investigation. It's like the police, right? Like, you have the level of evidence that you require to arrest and charge is different than the level that you require to actually have a case go to court, is different cases when you need to be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
The results of his Twitter poll.
The hearing hasn't even been held yet. Right? And he's already polling. Okay? So if your allegations are revealed publicly to be both baseless and politically motivated, would issue in the decision, we investigated, we found that there was nothing there. So he's calling for the resignation. He's calling for the resignation of and he thinks that if he is found, he's going to have then he'll take the course. I don't remember that listed in the letter as an option. No. Reserve to take this social media retraining. If you refuse to take the training, go to the disciplinary hearing, and then the training, that option's off the table now. You're supposed to get off at Belleville and
this earlier.
NDP. My God,
14.
how far he's fallen.
Yeah, 14 at the time, right?
So let the games, and then he finishes it with "let the games begin." Not a game, Poodle. Not a game. The Post Millennial picked it up as well. Then somebody says, you should go to the classes, then release details of the class and what they're teaching to the public. Hell, you could even record content refuting the material in the class. If the disciplinary hearing is public, I'm pretty sure that your classes will not be, however. If it becomes necessary, I will do exactly this. Everything will be made public. I wouldn't be surprised if they press for closed-door hearings. I will ensure that does not happen, period. You did not have that power, honey. That's not for you to decide. You are impotent here. If we only knew what you said on that podcast that prompted complaints, then maybe we could better determine whether this is just or not. I will make all the concrete allegations 100% public except identifying the complainants tomorrow. He didn't. He didn't.
Yeah.
And the College of Psychologists did not say anything publicly. And then, for Mr. Free Speech, and if you'd like to put this up, to all the people on the other side of the ledger saying, hey, this may not be a bad idea. Interesting that your entire public persona is based on receiving accusations. Something you said? If there's smoke, there's fire. Good. They're taking serious action at last. Somebody said, good. What excellent news. And his response to all of these types of things? Another compassionate censor. Says another subtle gossip-monger, commissar, mob advocate, and snide commentator with his peace sign proudly brandished. Says every cowardly tyrant jumping on the mob bandwagon. Another compassionate commissar. Another professional who thinks that freedom of expression is wrong. A proud Canadian commissar speaks up. Doesn't address the points.
No. If you
just
disagree
insults,
with me,
dismisses, and shuts them down.
Yeah.
But he believes in free speech and sharing your political opinions.
Unless, of course, it runs afoul of his, in which case, shut your pie hole. That's what Ben Shapiro does.
Or you retweet somebody's profile description and
make
just
fun
say,
of them.
Yeah, or just simply retweet. Oh, pay attention to this account, my followers.
Yeah, please pay attention to us.
Flood this account.
All 15 million of us, 15 million of the incels that follow him, and they're not all incels. I mean, some are women.
Yeah.
But all of them, please hate follow us, hate watch us. All 15 million of you hate watch this program and complain to us nonstop ad nauseum, because we'll make a very good living at it. Thank you very much.
Really? Holy crap. Like, seriously.
And all we're trying to do is make the world a better place, man.
All of that in about a day and a half. Yes. One tweet. But you have to say, this is the thing, kids. One tweet from him breaking, I am being called in for media retraining, got him the Daily Wire, the Post Millennial, all those other things, up to the Toronto Sun, then an editorial that he wrote himself that's at least 2,000 words, if not more, and the National Post, and then the Wall Street Journal. That's a lot of freaking power when you can tweet one thing and have all those outlets pick it up within the space and elevate it to an international issue within a day and a half.
With great power comes great responsibility, but he refuses to be responsible for any of his actions, statements, or things he's done and said, and accusations he's made, and lies that he's told. He wants to have the freedom to say all those things and no consequences to follow.
And as we say often on this show, you're calling for freedom of expression or freedom of speech, but what you're really calling for is you're calling for expression and speech free of consequences.
Doesn't work that way.
If you're allowed to share your opinion, right, that performing top surgery on a minor who has gender dysphoria is wrong or brutal or barbaric, the rest of us are allowed to use our freedom of expression or speech to say you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen.
And this is another case of interesting accusation. Please provide the evidence to back up your accusation, your accusatory statement. Please show us the proof. Well, I have it, but it's somewhere else. That's not acceptable. If you make an accusation like that, a libelous, defamatory accusation, you need to provide evidence.
Well, but potentially libelous, right?
Potentially.
Because if you have the proof, that's no longer libelous.
Correct. So potentially libelous. Prove it. I'd like to see the proof of this, please. There's never any proof.
Show us your sources. Show us your methods.
There are none. And again, like we said at the top of the show, we're not ruling out the fact that there probably is an unscrupulous surgeon in a back alley who would happily take the money to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Prove it.
But would the College of Physicians of Ontario or Alberta or whatnot allow that?
No, they would not.
Canadian Medical Association?
Nope, not on a child. No way. No way. Nope.
Right? And for people who
even though you're an adult at 18, they still wouldn't perform that type of surgery at 18 years of age because a respectable, knowledgeable surgeon would obviously say, your prefrontal lobes are still forming. You've got 6 more years minimum before you can make that actual decision.
Yeah. That I'm not 100% sure on. Because there are hormonal therapies and stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't know. Get to the top surgery. I don't know. I don't know that as a fact. I would suspect, but I do not know that as a fact.
I'm not.
But the thing when he's talking about, when he's talking about minors, he said that the doctors that performed that surgery on formerly Ellen Page, now Elliot Page, right? They were barbaric. So it's not only the kids, right? It's adults doing it too. I guess he's saying he has only said this about minors because, well, gee, Grandma Jordan, what big teeth you have. It's like, oh, the better to play victim, my child. Right?
Wouldn't getting my ear pierced and getting a tattoo be considered barbaric practices?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm altering my body?
Right. Well, it's like those people that, say, oh, well, we're opposed to sex-selective abortions. Okay. One, pretty much who isn't?
Yeah.
2, what do you think are the odds in Canada that someone would go to the doctor and says, oh, I'm pregnant. I just found out that I'm about to have a girl. I don't want a girl. Please abort it. And the doctor would go, yeah, sure. No. It's like, I don't want to have a baby. Like I would have a baby, but I found out it's a girl, so nobody's going to perform that.
No.
Right? When you're saying that you're against, we need to pass a law against sex-selective abortions, it's not about the sex selection, right? It's about finding a thin edge of the wedge argument. Okay, like this. Okay, well, let's say we can't get people on all abortions, so let's try to find a type of abortion that we can all agree on is wrong, and then get that wedge in, like this. I know, but it's not a thing.
Well,
At
and
least not in Canada.
that's
China,
it right
there was
there
a
in a
time.
nutshell. That's it right there in a nutshell, though, because what you're saying is very specific. There's no laws around abortion in Canada. It is a
Right.
medical procedure.
Right.
The moment you put that wedge issue in, no, or we're going to make a law that you can't have sex selective abortions, then it becomes a legal matter. And guess what? It's no longer a medical decision. It's no
Right.
longer a medical procedure. So then they can take away that medical procedure altogether. And that's how they get their foot in the door to do that.
By getting you to codify. Because once you codify, you can make exceptions. And more exceptions, and more exceptions, and more exceptions. That's why it's a decision between a medical health professional and a patient. And that's
all.
Between a medical health professional and a patient. And if as a medical health professional, you have a conscientious objection to performing that, then you are legally required to direct that person to someone who will. Correct. Because it is first about the patient, not about your moral conflict.
That's absolutely true.
Right? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Linda, my favorite is post-birth abortion. That's called murder. Infanticide.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
Yes.
That's murder.
If the baby is born and then you retroactively abort it,
that's a murder. You can't do that.
There's a word for that already. But that's what I mean, right? Let's have fun with words.
Mm-hmm. Fun with flags with Sheldon Cooper.
Ah, yes. So, yeah. All right. So that's the end of the Jordan Peterson section of our show. Talking about other douchebags, just very briefly. Mr. Andrew Tate going to be driving his high emission cars.
No, because they've all been taken away.
Huge emission.
Huge emission.
Watch my huge emission cars. Boom, 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 at night. Boom. Apparently, he said he had 33 when they did the bus. Turns out there's only 11.
Yeah.
So it was an internet 33.
He went with the rule of 3, right? Remember that from American Pie?
Yes. But do you know the concept of an internet 8?
No.
On dating profiles, maybe it's a gay profile. It's a gay community thing. But on your dating profile, when you are talking about the length of your appendage, because I've got 8. Is that a real 8 or an internet 8?
Never heard that one before.
Ah, okay. So it's a gay community thing. Yeah. An internet 8 or an internet 7. It's like, oh yeah, it's like I'm 6'2", 170 pounds, and I'm 45. And between the time that you're talking on the dating app and the time the person arrives at your door for a little booty call, the person is aged 10 years, gained 30 pounds, and shrunk 3 inches.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm here now, and are you hard up enough?
Catfishing, I believe, is what we call that.
It's like, I lied about everything, but now I'm here, and you're here. So what do you say? Right? So yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely not something I've ever had to deal with.
An internet 8. So yes, Mr. Tate had an internet 33. I guess. So 11. And apparently at the first, they were brought in and they were supposed to be held for custody for 24 hours. And I believe it took them that hearing to say, oh, no, we're keeping you for 30 days.
Yeah. He's not enjoying the holding cell in a Romanian prison, a Romanian jailhouse. I guarantee you he's been passed around that room a lot.
I'm not comfortable with those.
I know.
It's you have to understand, it's the gay thing, right?
I worked in a prison.
Yeah. I mean, I know.
No. I hear you.
I'm not.
No.
It's rape.
Yeah. Oh, agreed.
And
it's wrong.
And even though I understand that in this particular context, just because we're talking about human trafficking and exploitation of women who are lured into his lair under promises of true love and real romance. and then are alleged to have been forced to perform for the camera, so that this material can then be put on the web so that they can make money off it. Which is like so fucking gross.
Yeah, it's particularly heinous.
Among gross. that's the kindest thing I could say. I can use a whole bunch of other adjectives. You know, like, yes, you might be thinking, well, serves you right, or just desserts, or, you know, but it's still joking about rape. So I'm personally a little uncomfortable, but, you know, I'm not here to tell people you can't say that, and particularly about that particular human being, allegedly. Alleged human being. Yeah. So, moving on to a little more happier topic, given, well, happier, that has some dark edges.
Before we
oh,
get
yes,
to
yes,
happy,
you had something.
Before we get to happy, I have to show you this, because this is completely unhinged, dangerous, and will get somebody killed.
Okay.
This is 59 seconds worth of insanity.
Trigger warning.
You can get out, you demon. You can get out, you baby butchering election thief. You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation. I don't care how mad that makes you. You get pissed off as you want to. You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation. They are God-denying demons that butcher babies and hate this nation. Bunch of devils. I'm sick of it. They want to talk about the insurrection. Let me tell you something. You ain't seen an insurrection yet. You keep on pushing our buttons, you low-down sorry compromisers. You God-hating communist America. You'll find out what an insurrection is, because we ain't playing your garbage. We ain't playing your mess. My Bible says that the church of the living God is an institution that the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And the Bible says that we'll take it by force.
Unhinged pastor. No hate like Christian love. This person, he's been reported to the IRS because he's a pastor in a church and he's tax exempt. Hundreds of thousands of people have reported him to the IRS after that clip because he's mixing government in now. That is completely unhinged. Completely unhinged. Like,
man,
right?
That is just, yeah. I'm seeing the comments from the kid. It's just, wow. I am beyond uncomfortable. I'm actually like right here.
Yeah.
I'm actually
I know.
feeling.
But it needed to be shown. It needed to be seen. We need to understand what's going on. We can't be in the dark about this. This is happening in real time right now.
That moved energy in my whole solar plexus area.
Pay attention to it, because I'm telling you, need to be vigilant. This shit is real. These people mean what they're saying. It's dangerous rhetoric. Someone is going to get killed. It happened on January 6th. Police officer was killed along with a woman who tried to breach the doorway, and they shot her. Yeah. This is dangerous.
Yeah. 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 Oh, man. And yeah, since you're talking about that, on that, about January 6th, a civil suit has been filed on behalf of the late Officer Brian Sinek. and the suit filed alleges that former President Trump and 2 January 6 defendants are responsible for his death. So they're being sued, if I'm not mistaken, for up to $10 million, if you would put it up. The estate of a U.S. Capitol Police officer who died a day after the January 6, 2021 riots sued former President Donald Trump for wrongful death on Thursday, claiming that he incited his supporters to commit violence that day. The lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court in Washington against Trump on behalf of the estate of Officer Brian Sinek, who died at age 42 from a series of strokes on January 7th. Trump, quote, intentionally riled up the crowd and directed and encouraged a mob to attack the U.S. Capitol and attack those who opposed him, Sinek's estate claims in the court papers. The violence that followed and the injuries that violence caused, including the injuries sustained by Officer Sinek and his eventual death, were reasonable and foreseeable consequences, the lawsuit alleges. Spokeswoman for Trump obviously could not be reached for comment. In addition to the wrongful death, the lawsuit accuses Trump of violating Sinek's civil rights, assault, and negligence. The estate seeks $10 million U.S. in damages. 2 January 6 protesters were also named in the complaint. Good. Sue for everything, every time.
Oh, yeah. Yep,
Once
agreed.
it costs them enough money, maybe this shit will stop.
You know what? You have to go for the bank accounts. It's effective, right? It's going to cost me how much? I'm out. Right? It happens all the time. The minute you threaten their wallet, they go running for the hills.
Yep. And thanks to Kit Jen here, said, "Oh, Douglas, totally feel you. Don't let it make you sad. Let it steal your resolve to help facilitate change." And it does. But wow.
Well, you know what it does?
Wow.
It strengthens my resolve.
Yeah, but
it strengthens my resolve.
Imagine, see, here's the thing, and this is again why I have pity for these people. Can you imagine what it must be like going through life, feeling that persecuted?
Nope.
Feeling that you're living in a world so dark that you are surrounded by demons or baby killers, and it's like going all over the internet and the web and whatnot, basically screaming to people, "What you must understand about me is that I'm a deeply unhappy person with a dark soul." This is not a way to live. I feel so sorry, especially since I'm so hardwired for optimism. Like I said, right after considering all the alternatives and all my other options, why not settle on your default mode being optimism and happiness?
Agreed.
What is there to be gained?
Nothing.
From
nothing to be
miserableism,
so much to be lost,
or being a professional, a member of the congregation of Our Lady of the Perpetual Victim.
Get down off the cross. We need the wood.
It's not a life. It's not a life. You're not living. Because even if you're religious, okay, I am not religious at all. I'm somewhat spiritual. I'm not religious, but I have nothing against religions, especially if it happens to bring you something to your life that goes out and promotes you to do good in the world or be a better person or whatnot. And I see these memes, like this, if, I've seen this, like, from the tweet of God, right? I was like, or something like that. It's like, I love atheists because they're good people, they're good people just because they decide to be, not because they fear what I may do to them because of them, but even if fear of what might happen in the afterlife or whatever it is that you think happens after we die encourages you to be whatever encourages you to be a better person and do good in the world, I am all for. But
I can give you a positive note. I'm going to inject real quick with a positive note. Breaking news from the CBC. Canada's economy added 104,000 jobs in December.
Whoa, they were expecting 10,000.
I know it was really off topic, but I think you needed to hear some good news.
Yeah, they were expecting 10,000. Yeah, like it was. That was the case in November, but there'll be other implications from that. So we must. Anyway, we'll
we'll
get
have
to
to
that.
dive into that. Yeah, in the next
Yeah,
show.
but the use of religion in this manner, like I said, I cannot imagine going through that weight and that
mechanism.
darkness and that feeling that you're surrounded by enemies and feeling it's just it's you're not. If the gift of life, you're religious and you believe that the gift of life comes from your creator and that it's precious or whatnot, why are you doing this with it? Why are you choosing to take that gift and experience it in this manner? That's where the disconnect happens for me. I don't see what you gain from it. I don't see what... It breaks my heart. I mean, it scares the living fuck out of me.
Of course it does.
But it breaks my heart.
It's troubling, it's disturbing, and it's something we need to stay vigilant on. We have to pay attention because there are millions of people who will fall in line with everything he said. Millions of them. And they're all armed.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to something from Bo, the Fifth Column, the other day saying why the United States will never be an occupied country because no country is going to invade a country that has way more weapons than they have citizens.
Yeah.
It's unoccupiable. Yes. But this is like the family that prays together, Preys, stays together type of sermon.
Oh, yeah.
I guess. And these people are literally like, now this quote unquote pastor may be broken and forgone the path himself, or what's even scarier, he may not believe a freaking word of that.
Oh, no. We don't know. We have no way of knowing.
We have no idea.
It could be all theatrics.
But preying on all those dark, broken, lost souls that were cheering for that.
Agreed.
Cheering for that in the name
well, and
of a
so
God
many people
that allegedly put down 10 commandments, one of them saying, "Thou shalt not kill."
So many people are looking for a sense of belonging, a sense of community. So those people are preyed upon, P-R-E-Y-E-D, preyed upon, and brought into the fold, and then they continue to do that. I mean, look, this is how cults get started. That's not Christianity. It's not.
No.
Like, if you
say
you're a Christian, exactly. If you say you're a Christian and you've read the Bible, the New Testament and the Old Testament, and read the teachings of Jesus Christ, you would know that he would slap the shit out of that pastor if he walked on stage. He would smite everyone in that room.
He flipped tables in the temple.
There's where I was going. That's exactly where I was going.
He performed a Real Housewives. He flipped a table.
Yeah. So don't call yourselves Christians. That is not Christianity.
If you believe the book.
If you believe in it, yes. That if you are a believer, if you are a religious person, that's cool. We're fine with that. But if you're that kind of a religious person, GFY, my friends. GFY.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay. Sunshine, lollipops, rainbows, unicorns, and glitter.
Let's go to the last 10 on the code. Shall we do that?
Huh?
The code. I've got 10 more.
10
more codes.
Oh yes, please. Let's do that. Yeah. Let's do that.
So
that's a much better transition than I had planned.
So number 11. Your bro's ex-wife or girlfriend, off limits, no exceptions. This also, regrettably, includes their sisters. Sad face.
Oh, is that from personal experience?
No, let's just say the opportunity presented itself, and I chose the other route. I didn't go down that avenue. This is why I said regrettably, because
you would have liked to.
Yeah, I'm human.
You exercised restraint.
I followed Rule 11. or code
Yes.
11. Code
I'm
code
just
number
saying.
12.
I'm just saying that one. I was reading that and it says, there's a story there.
Yeah, the opportunity's presented itself more than once, let's just say.
Gotcha.
Code number 12, always lend a hand. Giving of yourself and your time is a larger reward to you than the recipient. Number 13, clean up after yourself, wherever you may be. No one likes a slob. Number 14, be inclusive, always. If someone is left out, bring them into the fold. Everyone has something to offer. Number 15, never judge anyone, ever. You don't know their struggle. Number 16, in quotation marks, dude, no one will know. You have to, end quotation, wrong. I will know. That's what matters.
That's the mirror test. When it's
Right?
you yourself in a mirror, you know what you've done.
Never be a victim of this. You're cute. Can you get me and my friends in? No. She's married and she's using you. Being a gentleman does not equate to being a fool.
Yes.
Number 18, never cheat at anything or on anyone ever. Number 19, be generous, but do not get taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
And number 20, on the Code for Men that I wrote on August 29th, 2013 at 9:47 in the morning. Be a man, always strong, always kind, always in control, even when you aren't. That last one is difficult to live by. And I've failed at it many, many, many times. And I'll continue to fail at it, but I'm going to continue to try and live by that. I will aspire to be a better person. I wrote that, 13 years ago. Or 10 years ago, I should say. 10 years ago. This summer, it'll be the 10th anniversary since I wrote that. And I wrote it when I was going through some stuff, obviously. And I was struggling. I was going through a severe depression, and I was in the midst of a breakup. And I was frustrated. So I sat down in the morning, and I wrote that out. And I did so because it was therapeutic, it was cleansing, and it helped me recenter and refocus. Now I do something similar every week or so with an ASMR YouTube chat. But those are 20 codes to try and live by.
Now,
I want people to take from that whatever they will.
Yeah. If you'd put them back up, because I'm going to do a little confession time here because I believe in being transparent. Number 15, I have trouble with that
Never judge
one.
anyone ever. Yeah, and look,
I'm rather judgy. I'm a bit of a judgy bitch.
I've struggled with that. I have, because you're sort of an automatic thing is somebody does something really crappy, you're immediately going, what an asshole. And then I'm stopping and go, wait a minute, why did they behave in that manner? When I was much younger, I wouldn't have said, why did they behave in that manner? You're an asshole. Stop being an asshole. And a friend of mine helped me come to the realization that you don't know somebody's struggle. So how did they get to where they are? Why are they behaving in this manner? It's trying to understanding. I'm not always doing it. We all have, I could have had a rough day. I might be struggling that day. So my ability to try and be compassionate and empathetic and understanding might not be present in that moment. But I'm always going to work towards that. Well, I mean, it's difficult.
It's just like, I think of this show, right? And we're like what a dick. Wow. I got to admit, I'm a bit of a judgy bitch. I was like, those memes where you see the people totally judging you.
Well, and look, and let's go back here for a second. Number 15, never judge anyone ever. You don't know their struggle. Right. Yeah, except for Nazis and Donald Trump. Fuck them.
Yeah. And then the number 18, and this is going to be a confession moment, never cheat at anything or anyone ever. I learned that one the hard way.
Oh, I'm sure most of us did. And
when I was 21.
We've all made the mistake.
When I was 21, I was in a relationship that had ended, but did not end officially. And I did not finish one thing before I started another. And by doing that, I essentially became everything my partner at the time thought that I was, but wasn't. And
well, what do we always say? When you know better, you do better.
yeah, but
You know better.
that's
you learn from
that's
that
a mistake I've made.
Yeah. Look, here's why we make mistakes, so we can learn from them. We don't intentionally make mistakes. We'll make mistakes all the time. I make mistakes every day. Hopefully, I can learn from every single one of them. Sometimes I don't know that I've made a mistake. Those are the difficult mistakes to try and correct. If you don't know that you've made it, which is why I say to my coworkers, if I make a mistake, if I do something wrong, if I step out of line, if I do, something outside of the technical aspects of my job, if I cross a line, tell me. I need to know right away, because I can't course correct if I don't know I'm off course.
Yeah. Now the kids are providing us with a couple of laughs. We have Kid Jen going, laugh aloud. Me too. Judgy bitches forever. Oh, you're my kind of people. Kid Linda goes, there are people I feel comfortable judging. I'm good with that.
Yeah. No. And well, it's what Jen said. What Jen said when I had it up there for a second.
A little judgment.
And I think this is true. It's okay if you keep the judgment to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can be
follows
that
up
edgy person.
Yeah, but she follows that up with a little judgment goes a long way. It's like saffron. I love it. And then, of course, we all learn from slutty mistakes, Douglas. Yeah. That's there's actually, for people who are self-avowed sluts, there's actually a book out there called The Ethical Slut, which has been very, 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 very useful to me. The Ethical Slut, A Guide to Infinite Sexual Possibilities, by Dossie Easton and Janet Hardy. It's a very, 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 very useful book. If you happen to believe in non-traditional relationships, if you happen to be polyamorous, or or like if that's your thing, and like there's no right or wrong. There are just right or wrong ways to go about things.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that.
Right? Often it ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to go back to this for just a second. This is codes. The code for men. There's 20 codes. You got to remember, it's impossible to live up to each and every one of them. They're codes, not rules. They're not laws, they're not rules, they're codes. Try and abide by this code of conduct. Try and abide by it. I would not get mad at anyone if they broke all 20. And I'm sure I've broken many of them, which is why I wrote it out to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I've broken every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I never broke 2, and I never broke, let's see, number 2 I've never broken.
Mm-hmm.
Number 11 I've never broken.
Mm-hmm.
And number 6, well, I've never stolen anything.
Once. When I was 6.
I've never stolen anything. But I can definitely say I've lied to people.
Yeah.
Often to, does this make me look fat? No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. As life is
maintaining
gone on,
social niceties are technically they are still lies, but
they are still lies. But as time has marched on, as I've gotten more closer and deeper with friendships, how does this make me look? You should not wear that. It makes you look terrible. I will be blunt. I will be polite. I will be kind. You shouldn't wear that. It does not look good on you. Don't wear that.
But it's in the delivery, right? That type of thing is where it meets the Buddhist thing, right? Is it true? Is it useful? Is it kind? If it doesn't pass those 3 gates, then don't say it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So does this make me look fat? Well, if nobody is ready or wants to hear that this makes them look fat, then if somebody really does want to know, because then yes, I mean, it's right. It's knowing your audience. Yes. And then there's a way to deliver that news that is kind.
Some random person.
Oh yeah, this makes you look like a freaking whale. No.
Some random person in a shop just holds this up. Do you think this would look good on me? Maybe. Which is usually the tell.
Yes. Again, Kid Jen is like really like nailing it today. Honesty without kindness is cruelty.
Runs.
It's all the garment's fault, not the body's.
That's true. No, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
That's 100% true. Because, and I like what Elaine has to say here, I think you would look better in.
Yep.
It is the garment's fault, because a poor fitting garment can make anybody's body look terrible. Trust me, I've put on some suits that I went, oh God. And some of you have seen me naked. I mean, you know, I don't think I have a horrible looking body.
Oh, but darling. As someone who pitches from the other team, yeah, you do.
I have a horrible looking body?
No, you don't.
Oh, okay. Well,
you said I don't have a horrible.
Yeah,
you do. Don't have a. Sorry, I'm doing a double. Yeah, the weird negative.
I was confused.
thing. Sorry. No. That's it. It is very nice, and I'm pretty sure that everybody here who has seen that photo can attest to that. And that is an objective statement.
Okay.
Right. Difference between the flirting and whatnot. That is an objective statement.
That's probably why I'm so wound up, because I too am a Cancerian. I'm July 5th. So yeah.
Oh boy.
But yeah, you're right. It's the garment. It's the garment, not body.
It's always the garment.
It is. A horrible looking or a horrible fitting garment will make anybody look terrible.
Or the wrong color for you, or the wrong cut.
Pattern, like I don't look good in patterns. And I think I'm not comfortable in them because they confuse my brain, and it's an ADHD thing, as it turns out. But here's the thing, Jen. I don't. I mentioned it once on Dean's show in anger, and everybody else keeps talking about it, not me. Everybody else is talking about it. And I even said that to James last night. I go, I mentioned it once, guys. Once. And I was angry, and I told them, the convoy people, what to do. And that they should choke on it. And everybody talks about it since then, but it's not me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but all you have to do is put it out there once.
Yeah, and then it just goes on.
Emphasis on put it out there. We have a thing from a Kit Tim goes, oh, Pierre Poliver just posted a video defending Jordan. Mr. Grizzly.
Oh, you have that?
Yeah. Don't think I'm going to play it because it's 2 minutes and 37 seconds of him appealing to his MGTOW crowd.
I don't want to hear his voice.
But
yeah, my stomach is a little off right now.
For someone like
I feel like. Hang on, I'll
Let's just
because I can't hear you.
There you go.
Can't hear you when I take you off screen.
For someone like Dr. Peterson, therefore he must endorse everything Dr. Peterson has ever said. Well, of course.
That's all we're going to do. It's like, I'm not endorsing everything he's ever said, but, right, there's a but coming. You know there's a but coming. I'm going to listen to this on my own time so that you don't have to, Kits, and report back on what I hear. But, this is... Now, here, the thing that's interesting about this is that when the Public Order Emergency Commission came around, he hid in that same basement in which they stuffed Doug Ford during elections.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He had nothing to say, I guess. And now he's like, disowning them in some ways. And, like this, oh, well, I support the right to protest, but I don't support all the illegal types, like, right. And then he was like all MGTOW until they started seeing how attractive his wife was and decided to, can't you take a joke, man, about raping her?
Yeah. No,
and then all of a sudden...
There's nothing funny about that.
Right. And then all of a sudden, like, they were whatever words that he used for them, but that were not flattering. But now he's trying to curry favor with that lot again.
Of course he is.
There's a reason he's not popular with women. This is not going to help him. But he's not trying to secure women. He's trying to secure the men.
Yeah. Well, now he's gone all. What was the thing he talked about earlier today, or was it last night? It was last night. He was going, landlords are charging too much rent. Rent has gone up. The average rent is too. You're a freaking landlord, dude.
Yep.
Not to mention the fact that one of the properties you rent is in your wife's name, rented to Michael Cooper, who is a member of Parliament, who has a housing allowance.
Yes.
So you're double dipping. You're double dipping on the taxpayer because we are paying for his rent in your dwelling.
Yep.
So Pierre Poliver, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself with this rents are too out of control. You're a gatekeeper. Go fuck yourself.
Pierre, if you look behind my hand here, there's a little sign language going on for you. Just a little sign language. Right here. Just...
My mom gets mad when I say stuff like that, and I understand it, but you know what? Some people need to be told that.
Yeah, they do. All right. Happier note, because you talked about it at the beginning of the show, even though there's some dark edges to it. But Team Canada did win the gold medal yesterday at the World Junior Hockey Championship. Now, unfortunately, I did not get to watch the game because, it was a good one from what I can tell, because it went into overtime. I was going to watch the game, and my Beaver sweetie has been having a bit of a tougher road to hoe the past couple of days, so I thought it would be nice to take him out to dinner, which we did. Okay. And I recorded the game, and when I'm recording, part of watching a sports thing for me is not knowing the result. And I knew that this was going to be blasted everywhere. So I really, really, really tried to stay off social media. And while I was doing something, it happened to flash across my screen. So I saw the score, which kind of takes the fun out of it for me. But I thought, oh, you know what? I'm still going to watch it anyway. And then last night when we got back from dinner or whatnot, it was because it went into overtime and because I was recording it, I couldn't start watching it while it was still recording. So I had to wait for it to be over. And when it was over, it was a little late. That's when I was starting to get ready to go to bed before my Beaver sweetie decided to engage me for about 2 hours. So I didn't get to watch the match. And then I thought, well, knowing you, my brother, I said, I'm probably going to find out they won before I saw the match within the first 5 minutes of the show, in which you, of course, did. So you didn't spoil it for me. He didn't spoil it, and I do intend to watch the match. But I can't comment on the match itself because I didn't get to watch it. And it would have been the only thing I would have watched, actually, other than the little bit I saw at the curling club against the match against with the United States. I saw the second goal from Canada and the sixth goal, the empty netter, because the one happened just before we went on the ice and one happened just after we got off. So I'm figuring I probably should have watched these championships. I'm just going to tune in for 3 minutes and just so Canada scores while I'm watching, and then I'll turn switch it, because they seem to the 3 times that I tuned in for like 5 minutes, Canada scored. So I don't know if I brought good juju. Right. But yes, Canada won the final of the World Junior Hockey Championship 3-2, I believe, against Czechia yesterday, which was a really good win for Team Canada because they were the only team to whom they had lost in the entire tournament.
Czechia,
first game.
Formerly known as the Czech Republic. I only learned recently that they changed I didn't even know.
Yeah, and apparently it's Czechia.
Czechia, okay.
Apparently, I always thought it was Czechia.
I want to see here's where I get confused, because I look at it and my brain automatically goes to Chechnya.
Right.
Even though there's no N in there, but it's the way it's written and sounds, that's where my brain goes.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So they lost 5-2 in the first match, and we were wondering at that point whether or not the whole scandal surrounding Hockey Canada had basically created conditions in the team where they were not able to perform their best. Fortunately, that does not seem to be the case, because, they went undefeated through the rest of the tournament. And that was very good. I am hoping and praying that they celebrated their victory in, let's say, non-criminal ways. So all in all, it seems to have been a successful tournament. And oddly enough, in the last match, Connor Bedard was kept off the score sheet.
Yeah, that's the first in the entire tournament.
Yes. Now, he still wins the scoring derby with 23 points, 9 goals, and 14 assists in maybe 9 games total? 10 or something?
I don't know. There's like 6 games, I think.
Yeah. Well, the 4 in the round robin, and I guess the 3 along the way. So maybe 7?
Yeah.
7 games.
6, 7 games.
That's a lot. 23 points in 7 games.
For
the top 6 scorers or points getters in the entire tournament were Canadian, but the next closest to Connor Bedard was 14 points and 13 points. He had 23. This guy's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Now, stuff that happened around the tournament surrounding the other stuff. Oh, and apparently in the quarterfinals, I didn't get to see that one, but the Team Canada match against Slovakia was also a thriller, and the semifinal between the USA and Czechia. Czechia also was a thriller. Apparently, Czechia scored. It was almost like the World Cup soccer match with Mbappe. These scored in the last few minutes to tie it up.
Sweden.
Oh, that was Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah, Czechia and Sweden. Sorry, yeah. Scored in the last minute or so, or this descended into overtime and then scored to win. So it seems that where the hockey is concerned, it was a good tournament. It was a very good tournament. Now, to recap on some of the other stuff, Halifax and Moncton were the host cities. And regarding all the sexual assault allegations, there was lots of stuff that happened behind the scenes. New Brunswick Minister responsible for tourism and women's equality, Tammy Scottwell, was quoted as saying, "There is no excuse and there is no exception when it comes to inappropriate behavior towards women. There's responsibility as well in the sports world to ensure there is a change in culture." And the province launched a public education campaign on sexual violence to coincide with the event. The government of New Brunswick, in its funding contract, also wrote in some special conditions. They included a clause that all Hockey Canada participants must be of good character and can't do anything illegal or unethical. And Hockey Canada said that all participants from Team Canada in the tournament have completed sexual violence and consent training and signed 2 codes of conduct described as an enhanced screening process. As well, all proceeds from the 50-50 draws at the games will go towards local programs such as girls hockey and education against sexual violence. So that
move in the right direction.
Yeah, but that was permeating all of that, right? Which could have been a huge distraction to the team. Now, because we don't like to transfer the sins of the father onto the child, right? We're hoping that this batch of young men that came in, hopefully, despite all of that, had a good tournament, had a wonderful experience. Kudos to them for getting their gold. Well done, boys. Hope you celebrate this in an honorable manner, and hope you go on for the rest of your lives and have wonderful careers being good, honorable men.
Yes.
But all that aside, way to go Team Canada and way to go boys. Way to bring it home.
Hell yeah.
That's good news. And you know what? Fans of hockey could definitely use some good news, especially from our juniors. So let's hope that this is the beginning of a new trend, defending champions, because we won last year. That's always a nice thing as well. Just Canadians, some good Canadian boys doing us proud. And let's hope that remains the story. And we'll leave it at that. Do you have anything for us, Mr. Grizzly?
This.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
you know who this person is.
All right, let's do that.
This person, Diana _Murphy 613. So she lives here in Ottawa. To all you reaping the benefits of my hard work to give you $10 a day daycare, I ask you, where is your sense of pride? Why would you be okay with taking my hard-earned money to pay for your obligations to your kids? Serious question. Then
Not
she
a
went
serious
on
question.
later on.
Not a serious question.
Yeah, not a serious
Just
question. Then she
asking.
went on to say,
This is a just asking
this is
questions.
terrible. It's one of those. Just asking. No. Then she went on to say about this is socialism. Then I looked at her profile. She works in healthcare and is married to a doctor. Your incomes are solely based on socialism. You stupid person.
Now, this.
And then I thought, is this parody or is this real? Because nobody can be that self-unaware, could they? Yeah, it turns out they can be.
Yeah. Now, on her Twitter profile, she says, been working in healthcare for 30 plus years, former official photographer to PM Jean Chrétien, married to ENTMD, opinions are my own. And
ear, nose, and throat.
Yeah, ear, nose, and throat. BS to Grizzly, if you would.
Yep.
I put this up. So let's see if I can bring this up as its own thing. Well, don't you just love?
Yeah, technology is great, right?
Let's see if we could maybe doing this. We'll bring it up as a solo. There you go. Okay. So this one stuck in my craw big time when I saw this. So file under knowing the price of everything and the value of nothing, aka the horrible human of the day. She is punching down on children. 1, she thinks it's a good look. 2, she thinks that giving children the best possible educational start in life, something for which we all benefit, no exceptions, is killing Canadians, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, serious question. Somebody responded. Also, we fund things as taxpayers that we may never use or may use sporadically. It's called society. No, this is called socialism, and it is killing Canada.
Irony is dead. Lady, your income and your partner's income, your spouse's income, rely upon our tax dollars. Socialism.
Right. So, again, making sure that every child in the nation gets off to the best educational start in life, because the years before 5 are the critical ones, is killing Canada. Educating children is killing Canada.
According to her.
And she thinks this is a good look. She didn't put her face because that's Gillian Anderson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Face like this. So kids, don't be a Diana. This is so not a serious question. As we said, this is one of the just asking questions. How are you doing today? Now let's do this thing, right? Because like her hard work is paying for this. Let's do a little analysis here, right? Okay. In 2023-2024, this fiscal year, $7 billion is going to be invested by the federal government into childcare and early childhood learning. Now, according to this beautiful site that you sent me to, the real-time population, there are 39,392,929 Canadians in Canada at the time that I wrote this comment. There are more now.
That one here. 39,394,059.
Now.
Population changed since midnight.
Okay. Let's assume that we're dividing that burden by every citizen in Canada. Man, woman, child, infant, whatnot. That brings your personal contribution to, did the little calculator, $177.69.68. That is your contribution for fiscal 23-24 out of your taxes to making sure that every child in Canada has access to the best educational start in life. You did not pay for all of it. All of it did not come from your hard work. You did not make enough in your entire freaking career to be paying for even 1 year of this. You are not that important, and you are not being singled out for special treatment.
Taking the O out of country.
She asks, like this, I ask you, where's your sense of pride? It's like, I ask you, can you please get a fucking grip? Wake up and smell your armpits, sweetie. As citizens of Canada, it's not like we're exactly against taking the hard-earned money of others to pay for social things, right? That we access or use that others don't. We do it literally every freaking day. I don't have a car, but I use the roads when I walk, when I ride my bike, when I take a bus. Right?
I will never have children. I'm a 54-year-old childless single male who fully, wholeheartedly supports and is thankful that this program is finally being put into place, because I've watched how much money my sister and brother-in-law had to spend on daycare.
Mm-hmm. I have never...
They don't need it anymore, but my goodness gracious, it was a lot of money.
Yes, I've never used senior care, but my tax dollars go for that. I've not had to use palliative care, but my tax dollars go for that. There are, I'm sure there's some bridges and roads in certain parts of the country that I've never been on, but I've paid for that.
Hey, happy to contribute. Yeah, happy to contribute.
Because if we all start thinking like this, I paid for that. No, you paid a portion. A very, very tiny, small sliver portion. And every time I see some of these things, I think, gee, do you want me to, I'll write you a check for the fucking $173, right? Because that's $177.70 and declining every day as the number of people in Canada are increasing, right? So I'm, but then again, if you do that, right, then everybody's going to want their check for 100, and I just don't have enough money to write a $177 check to every freaking person who would complain about this, who's self-centered, and right. It's like,
yeah, I remember a few years back, a friend of mine was explaining to me how, at the time, this is about 10, 12 years ago, at the time, if every taxpayer in the province of Ontario paid an additional $100, we could fully fund post-secondary education.
Right.
And I'm like,
to whom do I write my check?
I'll write a check for $200 right now. Who do I send it to? Let's make this happen. This should happen.
Right. Right.
We need to have an educated society.
Right.
Or we'll find ourselves in a whole heap of trouble. I mean, thank goodness we are the most educated nation on earth.
Yes,
we are.
Yeah, we are, objectively.
And I live in a city with probably the highest number of post-secondary education degrees in the world. And I don't mean just on a per capita basis. I mean just period. The population-wise, I guess you could say per capita, but say there's 1.4 million people in Ottawa-Gatineau, and somewhere around 75 to 80% have a post-secondary degree.
Yeah, and here in Kingston, it's the city in Canada where there are the most PhDs per capita.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you've got Queen's and you've got St. Lawrence College,
right, and RMC.
That's right. So 3 big post-secondary educations.
Yeah, in a city that's smaller than Ottawa. Significantly smaller.
A lot smaller.
Right.
Like a tenth of the size. Right?
Yeah, right. So here's the thing, though. Educated children grow up to be adults who contribute, and will probably be contributing to keeping you healthy when you're in your senior years, Diana. Daycare also allows more parents to participate in the workforce, thus generating additional tax revenue sufficient to cover the costs of the program, and then some, as Quebec has proven over 25 years, without affecting the ability to fund social assistance. Because in a later tweet, she says we could be taking that money and funding social assistance. Now, where most people turn around and say, you would support, if you don't support daycare for children, you won't support social assistance. I looked on her Twitter feed, and she does advocate for the disabled community. So she's probably not an entirely horrible person.
A broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Yeah. So. And she asks, she needs to ask herself, where's her sense of pride and where's her sense of community? Because she's literally raging because we made a societal decision to give our nation's children the best possible educational start in life. She needs a history book and she needs a dictionary because that word socialism doesn't mean what she thinks it does. Diana, Poodle, it's not always going to be about you or your thing. That's what community is about. It's not always about you. Not always about you.
Oh, hang on a second here.
These people, I swear. And Kit Tim said down here, they don't realize they'll pay either way and way more. They just don't want to pay for you, so they delude themselves.
Yeah.
Pay now or pay later, but you're going to pay.
You're going to pay.
You're going to pay. Yeah. Yep. Kid BB, women who contort for the patriarchy, ugliness. Yep. And the patriarchy is not going to save you. No matter how much you contort yourself, no matter how white you are, no matter how much Christian you are, that's not going to save you from what the patriarchy has got in store for you. Just means they're going to save you for last. We keep saying that. The more you aid and abet, that just means you're going to be saved for last. Because you're useful. And that's all you are being viewed as, is how useful are you to their cause. And once you cease being useful, or once they've gotten rid of all the people that they've scapegoated originally and they need a new scapegoat, they will turn to you.
Oh, yeah.
It's the playbook. It's the playbook. You need to pull back and you need to take the off-ramp. Gee, boo-boo kitty. I feel sorry for you. Feel sorry for you. Again, that darkness. Again, a tweet like that. What you must understand about me is that I am a deeply unhappy person. You're screaming it to the world. You're screaming it to the world when you engage like that.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Jeez, people, come on, man. There are better things to do with your lives than rage about educating children.
Yeah.
I know.
This is what we can say to her. And we could say this. And then, of course, my current favorite.
Go F yourself. Go F yourself. Go F yourself. F yourself. F yourself. With something rough and sandpapery.
And notice where it says ass wipe along the bottom.
I did not notice that until today.
I'm going to have to see if I can find... There is an animated version of it somewhere. I'll see if I can find it, but I've not had any luck lately. But if anybody can find me the animated clip of that, please send it my way, because I would love to have the... You know how the camera spins and pans and turns and the lights are moving with the timpani playing in the background? That would be awesome.
In other news, you might have heard of this little thing called a Rogers-Shaw merger. Yeah. Well, apparently the Canadian Competition Tribunal said that the Rogers-Shaw merger would not result in materially higher prices or lessened competition, or a situation in which its bigger competitors, Bell's and TELUS, would not be able to compete.
I'm sorry, I got to wipe the bullshit off my screen here.
I think we were in the splash zone because I just like.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's every. I got some in my mouth.
Here, rinse.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's time for a little synchronized tea drinking on that one.
Yes.
Yummy.
I have to show you something quickly.
Oh, hold on. This one's very short, so if you could hold on that one.
Go.
The $26 billion deal would create the second largest telecom company in Canada. The decision ended a 20-month dispute with Canada's competition watchdog because it has argued that the merger would be bad for customers in an industry that is already too concentrated. So the Canadian Competition Bureau says, no.
Nope.
And the Canadian Competition Tribunal said, no, there's nothing wrong here. Now, the final regulatory approval must come from the industry minister, who can pull it back, which I really do hope in this case happens. But breaking news development, the merger apparently is on pause again because the Federal Court of Appeal, I think within 24 hours, granted an emergency stay to block the merger at the request of the Competition Bureau of Canada. And the pause will remain in effect until the court can hold more fulsome hearing on the matter.
Juicy.
Yum yum. Finger licking good. So stay tuned, kids. But the I'm not sure how you can arrive to the conclusion that creating the second largest telecommunications company in Canada by merging two in an area that already is suffering from lack of competition will not make things.
Well, let's also let's remind ourselves what happened last July.
Please tell us.
Oh, that's right. Rogers went offline for 3 days.
It's true.
Completely offline.
Mm-hmm.
No internet, no cable,
yes,
no cell phones. 70% of Canadians lost access to the internet. And they want to merge?
Yeah.
My cell phone is with Freedom, which is owned by Shaw. If this gets merged, I'll become a Rogers customer. I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
I like this functioning network that I have because I had to rely upon it to work on the Friday when the whole country went offline.
Yeah. Is Ryan Reynolds Mint available in Ontario yet?
He's actually trying to get it to Canada. He's working on it. He's actively working on it. But there's a million loopholes and hurdles, and they'll be like, well, it's got to be a Canadian thing. And I'm like, oh, fuck off. Just give me a goddamn choice.
Yeah, really.
Give me a choice.
Really?
It's Robellus, Rogers, Bell and Telus, and Freedom, which is Shaw.
Right.
There's 4. There's literally 4.
And if you happen to be in Quebec, you have Videotron.
Yes. Yeah, and get Videotron in Ontario.
Oh, you
only
can now? Okay.
Where I am.
Yeah.
Ottawa customers, Eastern Ontario customers can get it. But basically, where you are in Kingston, it's not an option.
Right. Right. And Kit DaCosta has to
I'd have an 819 area code number, though.
Yeah. Kit DaCosta had to leave us to pretend
that he's working.
To pretend he's working. Man. Geez. So thanks for dropping in, and hello, Kit Saucy. You joined us, so nice to see you. And hello, Kit Tim. We've quoted you a couple of times, but we haven't officially said hello to you yet. So there you go. And I believe hello, Kit Elaine, because I'm not sure if we said hello to you this morning. But good morning to all you beautiful people. We'd just like to make
We've been going for 2.5 hours.
Give you a little shout out, right? Because we appreciate you and we love you.
This is true. Now, I have to drop this.
Yes,
one
please.
in. So you know how effective January 1st, pharmacies are able to prescribe medications, right?
Yes, for 13 different conditions in Ontario specifically.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Check this out. They can also extend your prescriptions.
Oh,
so
they
if
can.
You have a prescription. Oh, yeah, they can now extend it.
Oh, I did not know that part. No, that's convenient.
Yeah, for $15.
Okay.
On top of what you pay for the script. So there's a $15 renewal fee.
Yes.
Which is a cash grab by Galen Weston.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on the opposite side of the spectrum, of course, they have to do that. They can't just do that automatically. They do have to call your doctor like this and get the facts and whatnot. There are people that are work hours for that, and so it's saving you that. But I mean, it's fee for
But
script.
I already do that.
Yeah,
I already do that with shoppers.
Yeah,
because I have all my scripts right around the corner.
Yeah, then they don't. Then you can't be charged that.
That's right. Because what'll happen is if a script is running low or it's about to run out, I just pull up the phone number, I dial it in, and just hit reorder, and they go, "Oh, you can't reorder, you're out." We'll connect you to a pharmacist. Yeah, I need to, I'm about to run out of brain medication. Could you please? Oh yeah, no problem. We'll take care of that right away. And then I get a text message an hour later, your prescription's ready to be picked up.
Well, that would cost you $15.
Cost me nothing.
Yeah, but that would cost you $15 now. Yes.
Yeah. So before it cost me nothing.
Yep.
Now I got to pay $15.
Yep, that's true.
Cash grab.
Cash grab.
Privatization under Doug Ford is going to fuck us all over.
Yep. Oh darn, what was I going to say about that? I had it and I lost it. Oh yes, and as you mentioned on the previous show, I was able to look into it, and yes, indeed, the fee for filling in the prescriptions for the 13 ailments for which you no longer need a doctor's prescription, you can get it directly from the pharmacist, will not cost you directly out of pocket, but yes, you will have to present your OHIP card. So, but as you mentioned, like this, yes, you will have to present your OHIP card for that service. And again, I mean, it's, if you were going to the doctor to get the script, you would be presenting the OHIP card. You're going to the pharmacist to get the script. You present. So, I mean, it's the same thing. It's a different point of access now.
It just
the
means
doctor
more
will
money
not
for
be getting
Galen.
the money.
That's right. The doctors who have been increasingly, and under the McGuinty government, were asked to work more for less.
Yes.
They actually shaved down things they could bill for. You know how patients used to get angry about, when I go to my doctor, they're like, you can only talk to me about one thing. I'm like, because they're only allowed to bill for one thing. You used to be able to go to your doctor and you could talk about 4 different things and they could bill for 4 different things. Well, the McGuinty government changed it so they had to have a separate visit each time so they could bill. They couldn't bill for 3 or 4 different things in one visit, which means it's created a headache for patients across the province. It's created a shit ton of additional administrative work for all the physicians. It's just a stupid thing. And look, everybody goes, oh, you're a liberal. I'm like, no, I'm shitting on Dalton McGuinty for this one. He's a liberal. I hated that guy anyway.
He was a dork.
He was a dork.
McDoily.
Oh, and yesterday I scolded Chrystia Freeland.
Ooh.
I thought I should relay
Please
this
do.
information to you and to the kids because, again, as we always say, we will call out bad things when we see them.
Yep.
I tweeted to her, I admire you a great deal. You're brilliant. You're articulate. You're so well-spoken and will someday make a great prime minister. However, working at a food bank, volunteering at a food bank as a photo op and saying how the food bank does all this great work in the community that you're in is not a good look. It is a failure of our government, our nation, and our society that food banks exist in 2022. I admire you. I think you'll make a great PM. But if you want to go and volunteer at a food bank, do it without cameras present and don't tweet about it. Because this is terrible optics.
Mm-hmm.
Food banks should not exist, period.
Mm-hmm.
And governments saying, get out and support your local food bank is a failure of that government. Yep. And I know it's a provincial matter, and she's federal, but you're going about it the wrong way.
Yep. I agree with you on that to a certain point. Because yes, I agree you shouldn't. The part where they're not necessary, and that's a failure of society, I agree with you 100%. The part I have a little trouble with is taking the picture, because I have a problem taking the picture. Like, for example, those things where, for example, you're helping people with sandbags, you go and you move one sandbag.
Mm-hmm.
If you've done a shift, right? If you've gone for a full shift and you've done it, I don't have so much of a problem with it, because the part of politics from a PR perspective, right, is you don't only have to be doing the right thing, you have to be seen as doing the right thing. And when you see a minister of finance who's not too good to be going to a food bank, right, and doing a full shift, right, where they're not, they might have the photographer there take a couple of pictures, but they're not stopping on the shift to talk like this, but they actually do their full shift and they do their talking and the politicking before or after the shift.
And that was the case. That was the case. She did a full shift.
I'm okay with that. Now, yes, is it virtue signaling? Yes. You know, is she like doing 2 shifts a week every week? Well, no, she's the freaking finance minister of a G7 country. She doesn't.
Kind of busy.
But the leadership by example, the fact that she's not too good, not too high, not too mighty, right? That she
Fair
will,
point.
she will go there and get her own hands dirty, roll up her sleeves, and do the work and be seen as doing the work, showing the example. I'm okay with that.
Fair point. I still think maybe do it in another area. Because food banks are a failure of society. They should not exist.
See, my problem with the word should in these cases is like they should not exist, but they do. So we should be working to put them out of business.
We should be working to put them out of business. And look,
but while they're here, we should be
ordinary
working.
Citizens. And fine, ordinary citizens. I just think politicians doing that sends, to me personally, the message is, yeah, this shit's here to stay. So help out. We're not gonna increase funding to social safety net. Screw you. You're on your own. Go to the food bank. That's the message it sends to me personally.
And see, me because and
everybody interprets it in their own manner.
Oh yeah, and again, me first being hardwired for optimism and whatnot, not first assuming the worst. Like this, mine is like, I'm okay with doing this, and I'm the Minister of Finance. So, right, like I don't find this beneath me. And I'm engaged enough to get out of my ivory tower or to come down to that. You should be too.
But why didn't we give the same respect to Doug Ford when he did it? Because I shit on him too, and I'm going to shit on him every single time. This is where I'm going, right?
Yep.
If I'm gonna paint somebody with the brush for that, I'm gonna paint everybody with that same brush every time they do that same thing.
I absolutely.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yep. And here's the thing, right? Both points of view are valid.
Oh yeah. Look, we don't see eye to eye on 100% of everything.
No, but
geez, what a boring show that would be.
But I see your point.
Yeah, and I see yours, and they're. You're valid, and I understand exactly what you're saying. My interpretation of the message that was sent is different than yours.
But here's the thing, right? You communicated your disapproval in a manner that was fair, balanced. I hate to say fair and balanced because it makes me think of Fox News, but fair, balanced, like this, with kindness. And you did the compliment sandwich.
Yeah.
Like this, you put the compliment at the top, compliment at the bottom, like this, and you put the shit in the middle as the meat.
I think that's how you have to do it, right?
Right. So, I mean, yeah, I got no problem with that. That's a fair comment.
And I do. And I meant that. I have a great deal of admiration for her. She's a brilliant woman.
Yep.
Brilliant. And has done an outstanding job in her position. And I think she will make a great prime minister someday.
Yeah, she will.
And I hope she does run for party leader at some point in time.
Yeah.
You can't run for prime minister, folks. That's why I said party leader. Just in case anybody forgot, little civics lesson. We don't elect a prime minister. We elect a parliament. The leader of the party and that wins the majority of power, or wins the position of power, that leader becomes prime minister if they so choose. They don't have to take the position. They could hand it off to, another leader if they wish, or another member of the party if they wish. I've never seen that ever happen.
Yeah. Now we have Kit Jen again says we shit on politicians equally, no exceptions, and the reason we shit on them is because manure makes good things grow.
Yeah.
We want to cultivate some goodwill. I'm stretching here.
Reese hit the nail on the head with this one, though.
Yep.
Unfortunately, some people think that others don't work hard enough, are seen as lazy, and that's why they need food banks. There's a problem in our society, not just politicians. It's American rhetoric. And yes, you are correct, Ree, because what needs to be stated is people punching down on those who cannot punch up, so they feel better about themselves. Oh, you're just lazy. Really? That person works 60 hours a week in 3 jobs, but they all pay shit wages. There's a bigger problem here.
Mm-hmm.
And why do they work 3 jobs and not 1 full-time job? Well, they can't get 40 hours at one company. And if you work for a national grocery chain, they don't hire anybody full-time because that requires benefits.
Mm-hmm. That
right?
should be legal.
So you probably work 20 hours a week at one retail location with Wally World would come to mind, and another one with a big L. And if you work at those 2 ones, neither one of them are going to give you 40 hours a week. So you probably need a 3rd job just to make up the difference because they all pay terrible wages.
Yep.
So there's a problem here, and the problem is the minimum wage, which everybody seems to think is the minimum legally you can pay somebody. It was never designed for that. It was designed to be the minimum amount you need to have a livable wage. Minimum livable wage is what it was meant for in the very beginning. You need this much per hour at 40 hours a week to live. No, it means that's legally the least amount of money I can pay you. That's not what it means.
Right. Let's see, what else do we have here? I've watched 2 of the 3 year-end interviews with the Prime Minister.
I've not seen them yet.
Yeah, I watched the one with on Global, because everybody forgets about Global. But Donna Friesen had
I like Donna.
Had one. I watched it. I really enjoyed it. I found that the interview was engaging and informative. That she asked some really good questions and pressed well when needed. In the interview, if you listen to it, there's a solid bit on the interference from China in our elections within the first 10 minutes, in which the Prime Minister does a little bit what he did at the Public Order Emergency Commission and gives us a little political literacy lesson in there, which is good. I like it when he does that. And in the middle 10 minutes, when it comes to speaking of cost of living pressures and reconciliation in particular, he shows a level of empathy and care which of his conservative opponent appears incapable when he's speaking of the same issues. And as I keep on mentioning to you kids, the battle between Pierre and Justin is going to be a battle of tone versus countertone. And you can see in these interviews that the Prime Minister is doing very well on adopting tone. The second one I watched was the one with Rosemary Barton for CBC. And that one, when it came out, I hadn't watched it yet, but all over Twitter, there was, she got raked over the coals. She took a lot of flack for interrupting the Prime Minister during the interview. And they're basically saying that she was rude and disrespectful. I watched it, and that criticism was, in my opinion, completely unwarranted.
That's okay. That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
I didn't see the whole thing, but I watched it and I was like, are we that thin-skinned? Because I didn't see that.
Stands. They're on both sides. They're on every political party has their share.
I read so many tweets about, and I'm like, I've watched Rosie Barton for a long time. I've never known her to be like that. Well, I've never seen that type of behavior from her. I don't know her, so I can't say I've known her. But so when I read those tweets, I was like, but did she? Because I didn't see that. No. I didn't see the entire interview. I only saw snippets here and there, and I was kind of like, I don't think so.
If you had taken the snip, you could have gotten that impression. Maybe. If you were that type of person that was predisposed to seeing that, right? It's a bit of a Rorschach test here. But the year-end interview was wide-ranging, and she does interrupt them like this at a certain parts several times. But she's interrupting him and basically pressing him to give more substantive answers, which he does. And she doesn't do it in an aggressive, like, it's sort of like this conversation we had about the food banks. Yeah, but this thing, yeah, but this, and we went back and forth, right? A little bit, right? Like we challenged each other in that one.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like, well, how about seeing it this way, seeing that? Yeah, I see that point, but there's this too. Right. And, so there was that. It's journalism. She asked questions that were unpopular with a segment of the community that really, 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 really likes the Prime Minister, of someone who was popular. The issues on which she pressed were reconciliation and Quebec's Bill 21. They are issues, in my estimation, on which challenging is welcome and required, because it's way too easy to go into the platitudes and just leave it at the surface level. Let's dig a little more. The Prime Minister handled himself quite well with the challenge and actually showed a great deal of humility in those answers. My only critique about that particular interview, and it's one I've made on the show before, is that he's not doing enough to fully explain the federal government's strategy on Bill 21, right? That's the one in Quebec about the ostentatious religious symbols. And we talked about that teacher in Chelsea, that Muslim teacher in Chelsea that lost her job teaching in the classroom because she happened to be wearing a hijab.
Everybody loved her.
Everybody loved her in a time where the Quebec government is crying about that they don't have enough workers, particularly in education. But they had the luxury of foregoing one that was doing a good job and was well loved simply because the fact that she is living her authentic life out in public. Like I said, I've said this before, right, about these things, these Bill 21 things and the bathroom bills for transgender people. The objective is to limit the ability of people we don't like to exist in public space. If you cannot hold a job, if you are so devout that you wear a hijab or a kippah or any other religious symbol, if you can't hold certain jobs and you are not willing to not be devout, then you don't get to exist in public space. And those who are offended by that don't have to see you. That's what these things are about. If you are transgender and every time you go out, you can't go to a bathroom, that limits how far you can go from home. That limits your range. Which
Absolutely.
limits the ability of people who are uncomfortable with transgender people to see them.
Oh, yeah.
The goal is to limit people's ability to live in public space. And I keep on saying that for Bill 21, it should be challenged on a taxation base because these people are paying equal taxes without the ability to access equal services. It's a taxation. You're never going to win on the human rights and the religious argument, but you can win on the tax argument. And nobody's brought it to court on that basis. However, when it comes to Bill 21, the Prime Minister is saying, yes, I stand against it, and I've said that I stand against it, and I said that when it comes to the Supreme Court that we will intervene. He goes, but why aren't you doing it now if it's a fundamental human right like this? And there's that part of the answer there that he is missing, that he does not say. Now, the real politic of the situation, the ugly underbelly, right, because this is politics, and politics is a blood sport, and there's a game, and you can't give advantage. And so in the game of politics, the real politic of the situation is that this was a bill presented by François Legault, who is still wildly popular in his province. Nobody's forming a government or a majority without Quebec.
Not happening.
Right? Not happening. And the bill still has about 64% support in the province of Quebec, primarily probably from people who live in electoral districts where there are probably not a lot of Muslim people that they are meeting on a daily basis and interacting with. There are 78 electoral districts in Quebec. Not all of them are in Montreal.
No, they're
or
not.
the Outaouais. Right? There's absolutely nothing the Prime Minister could do at this stage in the process that could concretely help without costing him major political capital in the province of Quebec. At the first goal of a political party, other than providing good governance, which it should be, is winning elections. That's why political parties exist, right? To win elections. You're not going to win elections by going out on the top of the Waterloo Hill at the moment and contesting this that is very popular when it isn't even at your door yet. So now, if he actually went on TV and said, well, Legault's popular and I don't want to lose votes in Quebec by doing something that's, that will be unpopular with the 64% of people in Quebec because I want to win the next election, that would be political suicide. It would be honest, it would be transparent, but it would also be political suicide. So you can't say that. So, right? All it would do is give a platform for people who support this type of discrimination to move the goalposts and make the issue being debated the issue of the federal government inserting itself into, right, provincial competency. And that is unnecessary and unhelpful confusion and distracting noise that gets added to the debate. The Prime Minister does not want to do that. does not want the debate to be about federal government interference into a province's area of competence. He wants the discussion to remain about the discrimination. So it's not time for him to take some type of action. The political reality forces him to wait for the issue to eventually get to the Supreme Court of Canada. When it does, and then it becomes the federal government's duty to intervene on behalf of the National Charter. So this is not about not caring about the issue or not wanting to stand up for the Charter, but about strategically choosing the right moment in the process to step forward and use whatever political capital and power that you have. Now, if I were providing his PR advice directly, the line I would be giving to him and that he should be saying is, there's a process at play, and each step must happen in its own time to keep the focus on the fundamental human rights being adversely affected by the law. Right now, the process remains within the province where we hope it can be resolved. But failing that, should this issue reach the Supreme Court, of course we, as a federal government, will do what's required to stand for the principles, values, and fundamental rights enshrined in our charter. That's the line that is missing when he's talking about this, and I really wish he would say it. Because he's not saying it, and it leaves him open to all those attacks about him doing favoritism for Quebec, right? Why are you doing that for Quebec, but you're not doing it for Ontario? Why are you doing it? Like you let these people do this in Quebec, but you didn't do it for Alberta. If you would just say that, it wouldn't matter to the people who want to persecute him like this or paint him as horrible just because of the fact that he's breathing and he's a liberal. But for the majority of Canadians, our silent majority, for whom rationally and radically reasonable is the sweet spot, that answer would do enough. That answer would do enough. So I still have the one for with Omar Sachedina from CTV to watch and report back on. Mm-hmm. But from the first two, kids, if you do have the time, they are actually really worth watching. The way he's
I heard the one with Omar was really good too.
To watch the way he handles himself.
But I heard the one with Omar was really good. I have not seen it yet, but I heard it was really good.
I have not seen it. I watched like the first couple of minutes, but I haven't watched it fully yet. So I can't contribute yet on anything about that.
Let's go back to JP for a sec.
Okay, sure.
You got to see this.
Have we seen a stampede of professionals in Canada rush to my support on Twitter? No. Why? Are they dead set against me? Although also not indicating that. Inappropriately cowardly, justly concerned about the reaction of the regulatory boards, inappropriately timid. No. It's none of that. Again, Mr. Victim. You're not being singled out for special treatment.
Absolutely no way this could go wrong, implying that everyone who isn't defending you or fighting with you must be a coward who secretly agrees with you. Your best case scenario here is you continue to not be worth their time.
And thank you for saying that, because that's exactly where I was going with that. So you don't rate.
Dude.
You don't rate with your peers. This is why you keep on saying things like you're going to let the public decide on whether or not that you break the rules. And if they do decide as determined by you and the public that you select, then you will take the course. Like, it's not that. It's just that nobody who is a serious psychologist who also signed the same papers you signed when they received their license, saying that they were going to follow the code and you're not worth their time. Because you're not serious. There's nothing in it for them. They've got better things to do, like helping their patients. Sorry, Mr. Grizzly?
I'm going to be mean here to him for a sec. Seriously, dude. And I mean this. How small is your penis? Because, Jesus, you're a whiny little puke. Like, do you have any self-respect?
Micropene does whatever a micropene does.
It's just brutal. Like, no self-respect. None. Zero. Everybody's picking on me. Well, then stop being an asshole. I'm not an asshole. You're being mean. Dude.
No, we're not being mean.
Fucking help.
It's a simple
Get help.
declarative statement of fact.
Yeah.
You are
You're being
objectively a dick.
Stop being a dick. It's not that difficult to do. Stop doing what you're doing. Shut your mouth. Go away for 30 days. Meditate and think about what you've done.
Engage in it is better to keep your mouth shut and be thought a fool than to open it and remove all doubt.
Yep.
Silence is an option. We're talking about Dr. Meat Sweats here. Kiss Aussie.
Dr. Meat Sweats.
We talk about Millhouse and Dr. Meat, but it applies to both, really. But
it does apply.
Unfortunately, Dr. Millhouse is not. Not Dr. Millhouse. Millhouse, MGTOW Millhouse is not coming up before the board of Psychology of Ontario, but he still does have a compliance order with Elections Canada.
Well, he is a hypocrite after all. His wife rents out her house to Conservative MP Cooper, who gave her a job in Ottawa. There's a double dip, which she never shows up to because she works full-time on her Pretty and Smart Company magazine. Pierre buys housing in Alberta to rent out for profit. Most speculators are conservatives. They want housing prices down so they can buy more.
See, I like that, Pretty and Smart. If I was writing that magazine, I'd be smart who happens to be pretty. Yeah. That would be my magazine. Yeah. Well, put the smart first, and the smart's something I worked on. The pretty just kind of happened.
Smart outlasts pretty because pretty doesn't last forever. Pretty is temporary.
Yeah, we keep on saying.
It's short-lived.
Yeah.
And some people it's more short-lived than with others.
Yep. Let's keep on saying, being skinny ain't worth shit if you're ugly inside. Just saying.
Some people it lasts forever. Audrey Hepburn, case in point. Stunningly beautiful till the day she died.
Yep. A couple of other little points that I noticed over the past few days. We're not hearing it a lot. I wanted to
show you this quickly.
Huh?
You'll like this.
Okay.
I wanted to show you this photo real quick.
Yes.
Because I was segueing there with stunningly beautiful.
Okay. Yes,
till the
please.
day she died.
Yes.
Ms. Jamie Lee Curtis in
Oh,
Vogue.
damn girl. Damn
right?
Girl. Now that's a dress.
Miss Curtis, still rocking it.
Holy crap.
Still rocking it. And what I love about Jamie Lee is she's taken no surgery whatsoever.
Right.
Refuses to do it, doesn't do Botox, doesn't do it.
Right.
And I'm not judging anybody who does those things. But to deny doing all those things, to deny those things, to not do all of those things and still be a working actor in Hollywood in 2023? Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a testament to her skill and talent as a performer.
Oh, yeah. And plus, she's loved.
Well, she's loved. I mean,
she's 64.
Yeah, I know.
That's what 64 can look like in 2022.
Yeah.
2023. Sorry. Well, 2020 probably when the picture was taken. But it's like, damn, girl. Okay. Girl, you are hurting me with that dress. Hurting me.
Yes.
Oof.
Yes.
Work. Love that. Thank you for showing me that. Now, that's a beautiful palette cleanser.
I think so.
Yes. Segueing. We're not hearing about a lot these days, but I went to go see the Canada COVID vaccine tracker because, we're not doing our weekly coast to coast COVID updates at the moment. Coast to coast COVID updates. Sorry. And it's not in the news, but an average about 9,700 Canadians per day, at least on the last week, are still getting COVID shots.
Oh, yeah.
Which is good.
That's good news.
However, I looked at, because people keep on talking about more cases and whatnot, and our test positivity rate at the moment, at least at the moment, I should say, the last data they had was from December 23rd when I looked at it yesterday, was at 13.6%. And that's before fallout from holiday gathering season. 13.6 is high. It's high. And we have this thing. We have a couple of variants. We have a BQ variant, and that's not the Bloc Québécois variant, kids. Just saying. But the one everybody's talking about these days is XBB. The executive director of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, said that outside of China, one of the Omicron subvariants is on the increase in Europe and the US and has now been identified in more than 25 countries. According to the U.S.'s Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the new COVID subvariant XBB 1.5, nicknamed the Kraken. Seriously. I understand trying to be cute, but it's like, this is Kraken we don't want to release. Do not release the Kraken. The prevalence went from 4% to 41% of new cases as of December 31st in the United States. In the northeast of the country, the CDC says that the number is estimated at 75% of new cases, and only 15% of eligible Americans have gotten the newest bivalent booster. Bonnie Henry, BC's health officer, has confirmed now that 12 cases of XBB, at my last count, unless I could check, have been confirmed in British Columbia, and 21 cases have now been confirmed in Canada at the last check. She says one of the things that has been concerning about it, it's been concerning, and why it's come to people's attention is because it's spreading quite fast in certain parts of the world. The BC, at the time I got that, the BC Center of Disease Control said it had 5 instances of the subvariant, according to a report the public health. Sorry, I'm tripping over my tongue. Let's try that again. The BC Center for Disease Control says it has found 5 instances of the subvariant, which, according to a report by the Public Health Agency, says that the variant arrived somewhere along December 10th. Now, that is now 12 cases. It's not taking off rapidly like they're seeing in the US, but that could happen. But I think we have some really strong protection here, particularly because people have gotten vaccinated. Lots of people have gotten their booster doses, and we know that lots of people over the past summer, and particularly the fall, have had a bout of COVID, so that hybrid immunity gives us some protection. And in Canada, at least 51, I think the vaccine tracker shows that 51.7% of eligible Canadians have received a booster on top of the first 2 primary series. I don't know what the numbers are for having taken the bivalent booster, but you probably do want to do that when you have an opportunity, because the bivalent one is providing additional protection against various forms of the Omicron subvariants, specifically because the first 2 and the first 2 boosters we got from them were not designed for Omicron. The bivalent booster is. So that's the one thing we said. If you happen to have gotten your first 2 and decided to skip the next 2 boosters, do take the time to get your bivalent one, because that, of the 3 eligible boosters, that's the one that matters most. The latest Canadian data for the week of December 11th says the XBB 1.5 variant was present in only 0.6 of analyzed samples. And the officials at the CDC says that there are no signs this variant causes more severe illness than others, but it does move faster and spread easier than other strains. Okay, I've got one more. Bad. I know we have to wrap up soon, but I've got one more thing. But please, kids, go get your bivalent boosters if you can, and do get your flu shots if you haven't already. Please. And I see a kid PJ saying, someday soon, I won't be a shut-in. Thanks, Doug. Just in time for the time of the year. I barely care. I'm so sorry. But yeah. I do want, we keep on saying, we do it for purely selfish reasons. We love you and we want you to stay with us and come keep listening to our show, and we love sharing with you. So that's the reason we keep warning you. So, just up your mask game. Do a little social distancing, when you're in crowded public areas. It might be time around this period, because our data is delayed, right? That's December 11th data, December 21st data, and we're January 6th. So, things are happening, and wastewater samples are indicating that things are spiking up rather vertically. So just be careful. The last thing I have, little thing before we go, Mr. Grizzly, is this thing right here. If you would put it up, please. It's about what's going on in the United States. Kevin McCarthy is trying to become the House Speaker, and they are having votes for this, and he is losing all the votes. He can't afford to lose more than 4 votes per session, and right now the Republicans are in such disarray after 10 rounds of voting that they actually are proposing 3 different candidates now at any given time. He lost on the first one, and that's the first time in 100 years. This is normally a formality that someone lost a vote, right, for this type of thing.
Wow.
Now, normally, the record was last time it happened, it took 9 votes to get someone confirmed. Well, he's made history because he's lost the 10th. So now this is the longest current bid for House leadership in 164 years. And the last time was during the Civil War, which took 133 rounds. So that's 10 down and 124 to go to be the biggest loser ever. And I think there was an 11th one that he also lost. In the first 2 rounds, he lost 19 votes. In the third round, he lost 20. So he was losing more. In the second round, which was really awkward, is that Jim Jordan actually nominated McCarthy, only to have Rapey McForehead, Matt Pizzagates, nominate Jim Jordan as being the substitute. Jim Jordan, that created a rather awkward moment for Jim Jordan, obviously. So then in the third round, Rapey McForehead, who's still trying to get his pardon, nominated Trump from the floor. Right. So that didn't happen.
Rapey McForehead.
Then they started nominating this their token black, or 1 or 2 token black representatives, Representative Donalds, because I guess they thought that might draw votes away from the Democrats who are putting up Hakeem Jeffries, who happens to be black as well. And now they got this new guy, Rep Hearn. There's about 5 people that constitute the Never Kevin caucus who are not going to vote for him no matter what, and he can only afford to lose 4. And they're basically trying to get him to give them positions on boards and budgets and responsibilities to this specific group of about 20 Republicans who are holding the entire party hostage to try and get rid of him, to get their own way. Normally, a type of vote, they're also trying to put in a thing where they can remove the speaker or start a process to remove a speaker with a vote. And normally that requires a majority of the delegation. They're trying to get that down to him saying it'll only take 1 request from 1 person. He's not willing to give more than 5. And apparently that's a no deal. But basically, Kevin McCarthy is basically giving away the whole store in order to be able to get this gavel, which means even if he did do it, he would be like the most impotent speaker in U.S. history. So I don't know. Like, he's submitting himself to lots of pain and humiliation, but the party seems to want to be standing against these 20 and not letting them get their own way, holding the party hostage to get what they want. This could very well go to 124, because those 20 are basically saying that they are never going to give up, and they're basically trying to erode the will of the party to get someone else. And then Kit Linda put this nice little meme here underneath saying, the winners of RuPaul's Drag Race will receive $100,000 grand prize and be crowned Speaker of the House of Representatives. They want him to sashay away, and everybody but there's still about 200 or so that say, Shantae, you stay. There you go. Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do. I've got 3 quick things I need to bring up first, though, because this just came across my feed, so I thought I would include it. Just a second here. I got to put a title to the thing before I put it up.
While you do that, I'll just do a little thing. The Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI did have his big funeral on Thursday, and apparently the Vatican had prepared for about 200,000 people, and only 50,000 showed up.
Ooh!
So just going to let that sit, and you draw your own conclusions there.
For a little bit, eh?
Yeah.
So here's the first thing I'm going to pull up is interesting. There's a accompanying video, but we're not going to watch the video. So this was from the Sylvia Jones, MPP. Spread the word. Starting January 1st, Ontarians will be able to visit pharmacies across the province to receive treatment for common ailments at no cost.
Right.
Expanding the ability of pharmacies to provide care is one way we're making it convenient to access the care. Really? Because some shoppers have signs up about fees they are charging for this, Sylvia.
Now, again, I'm wondering if that's the fee for having the prescription refilled versus, and it's being conflated here.
This is what I don't know. This is what I don't know. So we'll have to look into that a little bit further. The other thing I'm going to put something in the chat here for the kids who are interested. I'm going to hit the click button there, and that will give you a link to the Canada's live population clock.
Yes.
We are going to hit 40 million before the year is out because we're at 39,394,000 as of this minute.
Right.
And then I thought I would end on this super positive statement and photo all at the same time.
Okie dokie. Oh, yes. You might want to remove the logo there.
Oh, yeah, just a second. I'll do that. Boom. Audrey Hepburn. For beautiful eyes, look for the good in others. For beautiful lips, speak only words of kindness. And for poise, walk with the knowledge that you are never alone.
I like that.
It's good, eh?
That's really good.
She said that a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. 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 Well, kids, that's the end of this episode of, well, more than just a nibble. Let's call this, just to say, the Eager Beaver Morning Podcast. We hope you love listening to us because we love making this for you, and we love seeing you here in our chat, and we love the compliments that and the comments that you sent us after the shows if you're watching us not live. Because democracy is something you do, if you can, roll up your sleeves and make a donation to Canadian Blood Services or HEMA Quebec. During the holidays and during the storms, they only they had a big shortfall in the amount of blood that they were seeking to get, and the supplies have gotten low. They had a particular need for platelets and O negative blood, and you never know when any of us are going to be in an accident or in a situation where we're going to need blood, so we need to make sure that our blood banks are well stocked. As the ad says, blood, it's in you to give, so if you have the opportunity, please do so. We really appreciate that. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Dean Blundell Network, as well as anywhere you get your podcast, featuring a grizzly bear and a beaver, all decked out for a wonderful 2023. And so please share the podcast. We love your feedback. Let us know what you think. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter at True Eager. True North Eager Beaver at gmail.com is our email address. And if you want to make sure that you never miss an episode, if you subscribe to us via our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver with a hyphen between each one of those words, will come straight to you as soon as we get something published. If you really, really like this podcast and want to encourage us to do more, you can find our tip jar at coffee.com. That's our coffee page, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. Sweepstakes right now. Well, not sweepstakes. We don't have a prize for you, but just wondering who our first tip of 2023 is going to be. We're very excited. So if you want the dubious honor and distinction, you know what to do. And finally, if you'd rather get something for your money because, it's inflation for anyone, and you need to be thrifty and get a good deal. Well, we've got merch for you. Eager Beaver t-shirts, as Mr. Grizzly just showed. We've got them for you in sizes small to 3XL, total of 6 designs for you to choose from, and you can get that at our site. You probably know the coordinates by now if you're a loyal follower, but it's deanblundell.square.site/shop/True North Eager Beaver with a hyphen between each one of those /10. Or if you just go to the website and click shop, you'll find us there. Being informed has never been more fashion, and it's a great way to ring in 2023. So go get yourself some fabulous today. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it can be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And thank you, Kit Jen, for saying that this is a lovely way to start the day. And Kit Saucy, Beaver always starts the day off nice. Thanks for another great show, says Kit Linda. You guys are so wonderful. We love you, and feeling the love. And Mr. Grizzly, please, we're waiting with bated breath for your words of wisdom.
Don't hold it too long when you gotta pee.
Oh, there we go. Okay, let's roll the credits.
The True North Eager Beaver podcast is an Eager Beaver Mr. Grizzly collaboration. Research, story, and guest curation and copy written by the Eager Beaver. Recording, production, editing, and additional research by Mr. Grizzly. Music courtesy of Ben Sound Royalty Free Music. Once again, thank you to our founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss Fee Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing and CanadianTarot.com. And thank you to Pete Jarvis for our artwork. We love it. Kits, we'll talk to you real soon. Bye.
Take care.
May your pee-pee dance have some rhythm and some funk.
See ya.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.